All right. All right, guys, let me know if you see me. I'm wiping out this other stream real quick here. I don't know what happened. Some weird shit happened. Just give me a second. Delete forever. Delete forever. You see me. Okay. Somebody sees me. I feel seen. Yo, okay. Starting over, kind of. So, where were we at? Just forget everything I said already. Nobody's going to get that information. Okay, here we go. So, I got the VPN down. Hopefully, things should be cleaner this time. I'm not sure why it was lagging. I did pay the internet bill, just to be clear. But let's get back to our story. So, MicroStrategy. Again, the NAV premium, the net asset value compared to their Bitcoin holdings was really, really high at 3.4. We crashed down to 2.2. I think we could even go into the ones potentially. So we could see more downside price action. Today, it doesn't look like we are. It looks like things could be really good. And I actually think that's probably the case. Love that you can always joke. Yeah, I try to, man. Life is full of obstacles. You got to have a little bit of fun and joke about it, right? So real quickly, though, I want to get back over. Let me get back over to here. So I want to talk about MicroStrategy for a few reasons. I want you guys just to understand the opportunity here. If you look at, I put MicroStrategy is the closest example of a golden goose you're probably ever going to find in your lifetime. The best part, it's off the back of the greatest golden goose of all time, Bitcoin. And just look here, guys. This is the carrying value and market value. So think about market cap here. Look at what's happened to the market cap since Q3 of 2023 of MicroStrategy. It has 10x'd. 10x'd. It's absolutely going parabolic right now. And when it goes parabolic, what you're seeing is and when the NAV gets really high, you're seeing an increase in the amount of Bitcoin that this company can buy and acquire, and to drive the market cap up even higher. So I just want you to make sure you understand this. It's really, really important. A few other things to look at. So again, we looked at that. Let's look over here. So I said when looking at the daily trade volumes for MicroStrategy, it's easy to see that they were peaking recently, where I call the top of the .618. The golden retracement zone. I go, my only mistake was not being more cautious in my buy-in of MSTU and MSTX. There was no rush. Look at the volume on that day. Would I still buy options in MSTR? I don't know about options. I'm in MSTU and MSTX. Those aren't exactly options. They're kind of like it, but it's different. Would I still buy them here? I think they're a pretty good value. Well, I mean, they were yesterday afternoon. So yesterday afternoon, if you bought, great. We still could go to the low 80s. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen for Bitcoin. If that happens, you could see sub 300, just like the upper twos on MSTR. And if that happens, these things, the MSTU and MSTX will get crushed yet again. I would buy into that. I'd probably put $500,000 into it and cannibalize a few other investments to do it. But this is a big move that I made. I've got like probably 1.2, 1.3 million in MSTX and MSTU in a very short period of time. So just be cautious. Be cautious. You know what I mean? But that's daily traded value. So look at this number. Daily traded value is just through the roof. Marking when you see things like that, massive trade explosions, that usually is the marking of a short-term top or bottom. So just remember that stuff. Also, a lot of MicroStrategy today, and then we'll get to other things. I said when looking at market caps that are similar to MSTR, nothing comes close to the daily trading volume. So look at these other like MRO, I think it's like an oil gas company, Coinbase, Best Buy, Reddit, Zoom, like some shitty coin stuff and other things. Just look at this. Look at this. It's just and this isn't even that day. This isn't even that crazy day. This is just yesterday. It's nuts. Jesse, come join the psychopaths over at Irresponsibly Long. I might be a part of that group. I'm not sure. Reed pointed out here. Oh, and I need to do something real quick. I'm going to delete on X. I'm going to delete real fast, guys. I'm going to delete that other session that died because that's going to be confusing to people. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Now we just got one stream. Well, we got 3 streams. That's really confusing. Okay. All right, there we go. Do we have 4 streams? How many times did it reconnect? Oh my God. I'm going to kill the 4th one too. Okay. So we have 1 stream now on X. 1 stream instead of 4. Okay, good. Good. But anyway, Reed said, for perspective, it took MicroStrategy over 2.5 years to get to their first 134,000 Bitcoin. 2.5 years. It took them 3 weeks to get to the next 134,000. 2.5 years, 3 weeks. That's interesting. But here's my buddy Ben Workman. Sorry for beating you in that poll, Ben. You deserved it more than I did. Said, for today, I will just present the chart and allow you to draw your own conclusions about whether this growth trajectory is valuable or not. This is MicroStrategy, and these are some important, this might not be visibly apparent in what's happening right away, so I'm going to try and explain it. So if you look here, you can see how the bars for the like orangish, reddish color over here says outstanding shares to the amount of Bitcoin, right? So this number is getting lower, which means there's less shares out there for the amount of Bitcoin that MicroStrategy holds. That's a good thing. And then it says diluted shares per 1 BTC. So even with dilution, like we've seen, look at the amount, look at how it's going lower and lower and lower. So what we're saying here is whether you're looking at outstanding shares or you're looking at diluted shares, the amount of them that exist per Bitcoin that MicroStrategy holds is going down. That's insane. Also, these little dotted lines here, it says BTC outstanding shares and then BTC diluted shares. So while the amount of outstanding or the amount of outstanding shares per Bitcoin and the diluted shares per Bitcoin is going down, we're seeing the amount that they hold going up at a parabolic rate. Jesse, you should go on Quant Bros 6X. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of things with other people, but this is amazing. What we're looking at right here is utterly amazing. And it's not done. And I actually think it could accelerate. We got a lot to look at. Oh, and Thomas Young was referring to this chart up here. He said, this is a powerful chart. He goes, if people shift their unit of account for valuation from USD to Bitcoin, then MicroStrategy is the only company at scale that is showing positive BTC accretion. He said, now couple that with the idea that Bitcoin is going greater than 1 million in the next few years, then how can you put a fiat value of MicroStrategy? It would be ascribing MicroStrategy's value in Yap stones. That's funny. But it's also, again, brilliant. It's brilliant, and it shows what's coming. Carl Minger, again, I showed this one yesterday, I think. Japan's hottest stock is 25-year-old company that adopted the MicroStrategy Bitcoin playbook. They're up 1,361% this year. I was arguing with some people about with Rex Finance and then also some others in regard to whether or not CleanSpark should be doing a similar strategy. I do think they should. I did tag Matthew Schultz on it. I don't know if I've heard back yet. I haven't seen anything. But I am trying to get this messaging in front of them before earnings on Thursday because I do want them to think about how important this strategy is and that it could be a companion along with their mining. It could be a companion. You can do both things. And so I want to make sure they understand that. And again, Carl Minger showed this too, just MicroStrategy's performance. This is before the big drop, but just huge, just dwarfs NVIDIA, dwarfs Bitcoin, dwarfs Tesla. It's an accelerant for upside in Bitcoin, guys. That's the message I'm trying to get across to you guys today. Is it's an accelerant. And there are other things that we can look at too. Let me go back here real quick and see what I think there was at least one other point I wanted to make in regard to MicroStrategy, so we'll bring it up. Somebody said, I'll look at those in a second. Oh, yeah, right here. This is what I wanted to show. So this screen is busy. If these guys have a pay for service, I will pay for that service. I will pay just to get this shit off my screen. All this stuff. Okay. Let me see here. That's the advanced view. I didn't want to go here. Let me go back 1 second. I'm just trying to show you guys one thing. Might take a second. Let me see. I might have to go over here to get to it. This is so dumb. I want to show, collapse. Click to collapse. Okay, good. All right, so here's what I wanted to show you. Remember when I was warning that, hey, guys, we're getting close to the threes and this is kind of the danger zone? That was true. But look at where we are now. We're at like 2.2, 2.25. We've dropped a lot. We're at one of the lowest levels we've seen in a very long time, guys. Like, at this price point, we are at the lowest level. If you go back here, the only other lowest level, the time that it was this close to being this low, really, outside of this little blurb right here, is when we were in the 70s. So, hey, Jesse, is 3LMI a good spot to buy? Looks like it's near its short-term low. I don't know, man. I don't know. I worry about trying to recommend anything like 3LMI to anybody. Not recommendations, by the way, because I'm not a financial advisor, yada, yada, yada. But it's just, you're going to get crushed so much on the theta and again, the errors and tracking. It's going to be bad, in my opinion. So I worry about it. Now, I do want to show something here. So this is just looking here at the NAV premium. I want to go out because I've told you guys my target's 280, right? So there's a couple things. So there's where we are right now, and then there's where you can see where this thing's tracked. And one of these, it's hard to read here, but it says second order regression. That's this orange line. And then the other one is the linear regression, the green line. Why does this matter? Because of the NAV. So if we look, if we got up to 280,000, it's saying the net asset value for Microsoft or for MicroStrategy could be 10. And I actually think that's true. And I think it could go even higher than that. So yeah, my target's 280. Now, I'll be out of leverage plays, like anything option, anything 2 to 3x by about 150, maybe 180, 190. I'll let you know, keep track. By the way, we're getting close to 94,000 on Bitcoin, guys. That's a nice little bounce back from the abyss where we got into the 90,000s, the low 90s. So we've bounced back pretty good so far. This is looking decent. This is looking like something that could actually be sustainable. But what I'm trying to point out here is if we do the second order regression, it would be stupid. We could be hitting 6x NAV by 150K. Yeah, master the game. 6x NAV is the bear case. Yeah. So I'm just trying to make sure that people understand, A, this investment, and B, how crazy it can get. And again, I was too early. I was 2 days too early. I'm sorry. I'm not a perfect person. I'm working hard at doing a really good job at this, but I'm not perfect, and mistakes will happen. But this is cool. What's coming ahead, I think, is very cool, and I think it'll make up for those mistakes. Real quickly, there's a couple things I wanted to point out in regard to economic data. We do have more coming in 40 seconds, but until that comes, what did I tell you guys last week about the mortgage interest rate, that it would finally peak and that it would start to come down? We dropped from 6.9 to 6.86. It's happening just like I said it would. It will continue to drop. Okay? And that's good. Mortgage applications were better than expected, 6.3% versus 1.7 previous. Mortgage market index had a nice jump. Mortgage refinancing was weaker than expected. Mortgage purchase index was better than expected. Now we're getting core PCE, durable goods, GDP growth, personal income, personal spending, and more. This is going to be very important. Corporate profits, just a bunch of stuff. So we're going to be looking at that right now. I'm actually maybe temporarily too going to see, we're going to pull this up real fast. We're just going to get the bead from here. Oh, I need to resize this.
To the man in Chicago in the Windy City, Rick Santelli is standing by.
Let me fix this real fast.
In Chicago. Rick, the numbers.
There you go.
And there's a long list of them, so everybody watching and listening, get comfortable. On initial claims, expecting 215,000. We come in at 213,000. That equals last month, but that moves up now to 215,000.
Market seems to like it so far, guys.
That is the lightest level since April of this year. If we look at continuing claims, it remains on its second revision. 1,907,000. I was going to say it's the second week above 1.9, but last week's 1.9 million was downgraded to slightly under. So this remains the loftiest level going back to November of 2021. Let's look at our second time around the block on GDP. It remains for the third quarter at 2.8%. And if we look at consumption, remember last time we looked, it was a whopping 3.7. That was the best going all the way back to Q1 of 23. It comes down just a bit to 3.5. But that still remains pretty lofty.
Look at those rates going down, guys, or those yields. Look at those yields.
If we look at the price index, moved up a tenth from 1.8 to 1.9, but that's still the best progress since it was 1.5 in the last quarter of 23. Finally, let's look at core price action. 2.1%, it sheds 0.1%. At 2.1, it's the lightest, well, since it was 2% last quarter of last year. Now let's switch gears to durable goods, shall we? Durable goods headline number was expected to be up 0.1. It comes in exactly at 0.1. And last month becomes 0.4 instead of 0.5%. If you look at the ex-transportation figure, that is also up. Excuse me, folks. The headline was up 0.2. Ex-transportation is up 0.1. If we look at capital good orders, non-defense ex-aircraft, a proxy for capital spending, it moves up to 0.2, better than expected. That's pretty lofty. But do consider that in the rear view mirror, if you look at capital good orders, we had up 0.7. That was a strong number. It now gets cut basically in half to up 0.3. Up 0.3 ends up the best since June of last year. And finally, let's look at shipments instead of orders. Shipments are up 0.2%, and that is as expected. Now, let's look at trade balance, and this really is important, folks. I know it's an advanced look, but it's at minus 99.1. But last look at 108.7, that is the second highest trade deficit in history, and that goes back to 1989. And we all know the trade balance may have a lot of movement in the future based on things like tariffs. And also, this number has a lot of activity surrounding some of the pull forward of many entities trying to get ahead of potential tariff action.
Yep.
Wholesale inventories, they were up 0.2. Retail inventories were up 1.
I'll give you guys my view in a sec.
1/10. The market siphoned all of that. We now end up at 420 in a 2-year. And guess where it was before all those numbers? Yeah, you had guessed right, at 420. If we look at 10-year, 4.
Yeah, we'll go back to him in a second. He's taking too long. I should probably do my review first anyway. Let me refresh, and then we'll talk about all of it. Core PCE. Come on, you're there already. Just finish. All right, durable goods, 0.2%. Consensus was 0.5, forecast was 0.3. It's month over month. Not a lot of data there. GDP growth rate quarter over quarter, 2.8%, right in line with consensus and forecast. Corporate profits, 0%, was expecting 3.9. That kind of sucks. We want to see profits doing well. On an earnings front, though, we're sitting pretty good. I'll talk about some of that, just some stuff from Tom Lee's latest report. For the earnings seasons, with 94% of earnings, or companies already reporting earnings. Durable goods, orders ex transportation, 0.1%. So minus transportation, we saw less than we were hoping for consensus and forecast. Forecast was 0.6. GDP price index was 1.9, came in just a hair hot versus the 1.8 that we were expecting for consensus and forecast. And really, it's not that big of a number. Initial jobless claims are fine. Let's see if the personal income spending and all these other things have updated on my screen. Come on. What is going on? It should be there. All right, we'll let that continue to grind for a second. Let's look at other stuff while we're waiting. So far, everything looks decent. Goods trade balance, again, one of the worst recorded. Actually, the previous month was the worst. It probably got revised higher. Forecast was negative 91. We got negative 99. We don't want this kind of weird in trade balance. This is the reason Trump got elected. One of many. We got retail inventories ex autos coming in line. We've got wholesale inventories, 0.2%. So they were higher than consensus and forecast by just a little bit. Continuing jobless claims are fine. Core PCE price index. Oh, I'm still waiting on that one. Core prices quarter over quarter, second estimate, 2.1%. So this is good. This is showing that inflation is not an issue, at least quarter over quarter. Looking at the core PCE producer numbers, we're seeing 2.1, which is just a hair under 2.2. And again, very low compared to the previous 2.8. Let's look at, there's so many numbers. Durable goods orders, good orders, ex defense, month over month was 0.4. That's actually good, way better than expected. They expected a negative read of 0.6. GDP sales quarter over quarter, 3%. That came in line perfectly with consensus and forecast. The jobless claims 4-week average is fine. Non-defense good orders, ex air, so subtracting air, we see weakness, negative 0.2%, where we expected 0.5. PCE prices quarter over quarter estimate, second estimate, Q3. Yeah, this is just the PCE. We're seeing 1.5%, well in line. Real consumer spending, 3.5%, just a hair underneath consensus and forecast. These are pretty good numbers. I don't know why this other stuff isn't updating. Let me refresh one more time. The bounce is not strong. What bounce are you looking for? I don't know if you're looking at things right, Akash. All right. Let me see. Did it update? No, those just aren't in there. I don't know why. Let me see here. Let me see if I can see it in the other screen. September. It just doesn't show October. Weird. All right, I don't know. We can check with this later. Yeah, we're getting close to 94,000, so we're getting a nice number. I also like this pattern that we're seeing in the bottom of the screen where we're finding support at this level. Now, don't get me wrong. It could be a dead cat bounce. It could roll over and kind of be a head and shoulders. We'll see if that happens. That could still happen. You need to be aware of that. We'll come back to some of this data in a second, though. Let me see what Rick has to say.
25 before the number remains at 425. If it was to close there, it would be a 1-month low yield close. Back to you, Andrew, and the game.
I actually want to look at that real quick. So I want to see how everything's moving this morning, guys. So we're going to look real quickly. We're just going to get a bead into all of it. We're going to go to pre-market here. We're going to look at the stock market heat map index. We can see some pain actually in Apple and Nvidia. I don't know if there's news on either one of these, but they're not. Those two big caps aren't doing great. Tesla's at 1%. I like that. All right, so let's do this. We want to search around. We're going to do a little bit of moving around here. So let's go to the dollar first. So one of the things that Michael Howell was talking about in his last post, along with global liquidity weakening, and I know there's some people that are jumping on that bandwagon, and I'm definitely that guy sometimes too, but was that we needed to see the bond volatility drop, and then also we wanted to see the dollar weaken if we're going to see, with global liquidity being diminished, the two things that we want to see that will provide juice are going, or I should say three, are the Trump put and the dollar weakening, and bond volatility dropping. So these are things that we want to keep an eye on. So again, we got up to the 108 range. We broke down. We could find support around this range. So this is going to be important to track. But it is nice to see this, the dollar losing a little bit of strength today. We want that. And I don't know if the CME Fed Watch tool is going to update quick enough, but I do like the fact that we have, it says 66% now. So 2-to-1 odds that we're going to see that December rate cut. Those could even improve. But I love this. I think we're kind of in a Goldilocks scenario right now, where the Trump put is still working, and I'm excited about it. Let me see if these data points updated yet. I do want to talk to them if I can. GDP price index quarter over quarter, second estimate 1.9. Okay, so let me see. Where was the other? Or did they get pushed? They got pushed to 9. Okay, so we got more data coming out at 9. 8:45. We got Chicago PMI. Core PCE, personal income spending, PCE price index, pending home sales, all that stuff is coming out. Core PCE price index year over year, all of that is coming out at 9. So we will take a look at that. That is perfectly fine. You don't short if you think is not strong. Not just following all the chat here. If you do that, you burn your portfolio in 1 week. Law, a bunch of haters, just throwing possibilities. Nobody has a crystal ball. Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're pretty strong right now, but you're right. We're not out of We're not out of the zone that says that we're good to go and we're continuing the rally higher. We're just not. So if we look over here, this is good. This is good, right? This is what you want to see. We got the dot 618. We bounced off of it. We're bouncing pretty good and we're going higher. I would argue that this is actually so far a pretty strong bounce. When you're going from 90,600, 90,700 up to 94-ish, that's a pretty strong bounce. But again, we really need to get up to this 95,000 range and above. We need to get between this gap over here, guys, so that we can feel more confident and that we can turn this into support and maybe grind for a couple of days. Or just, launch the fuck up to 98,665. That's another option. But I can tell you this, and I wish I would have done a better job. This is another thing I failed at recently. Going into Turkey Day, seasonality, there are strong drops, and I should have been paying more attention to that. Should have remembered that, first off, and I should have been tracking it, and I should have taken the time to look at it. But if you look, seasonality-wise, even during the bull, you could see times where, Turkey Day crushes you. I think last time it was down 13 or 14%. But again, that was kind of in the pre-bull, starter bull pack. But yeah, so it can go down into these time frames. The positive thing, though, especially this year, is that everybody goes and hangs out with their family and friends, and they say, "Hey, how's that Bitcoin thing going for you?" And I heard it's got almost to 100K, and then that you respond with, "I've made a ton of money. It's been great. I'm making a ton of money." And this is your opportunity to buy. And then people start talking about it, and then they explain how they're going to make money and what they should be doing. And they ask questions, and then come Monday, they talk to their broker, their investment guy, and they're like, "Can I get into MSTR? Can I get into Bitcoin? Like, what do we have for options?" I had a family member just recently. He's an attorney. He's a really smart guy. He's the guy who helped me with my nephew's case and helped a lot. But he's literally talking to me about Bitcoin right now and investing. And there's been a lot of those people. So I just want to argue, guys, that this holiday in Turkey Day, let people know what they're missing. Don't do it just to pump your own bags, but do it to let them know what they're missing, because I do think this is the opportunity before we take major legs higher. All the data tells us that. And the macro setup is beautiful. We've still got the Trump pump. I don't think it's done yet. And again, there's fundamental things that are happening that I just don't think people are prepared for. Sack said, "I just got my 65-year-old parents to buy IBIT through a broker." Cool. There's going to be a lot of that, I think, guys. Young Investor says 2020 pre-Thanksgiving, we got wrecked like 17. Yeah. Okay. If we're going to repeat that, I'd say we'd still had to take. Yeah, we could. We don't have to. I would argue that this cycle is incredibly more bullish than last cycle. And I would look at the seasonality, young investor, since you are young. I'll pick on you with that. But I would look at what happens in the bull every 4 years around Thanksgiving. And don't get me wrong. Again, I think this is kind of the perfect setup to get people to buy. How's the seasonality into Christmas? It's probably something, it's usually good. But I'll look at that. I will specifically look at that and give you guys a heads up heading into it. We'll look at it from the perspective of each year, but we'll also look at it from the perspective of after the halving year, which is really important, right? Because that's the time frame we're in. So, but so far, today's looking pretty good. I'm liking the data points that we're seeing. Dude, I'm big time. Want a Lambo. I do it to pump our bags. Thank you, JT. Broke Mentality says that's why you're using Dino coins running ADA XRP. I don't know what you guys are having like a sidebar conversation. Talk BTC, emphasize Trump pro, and Gensler is Gonsler. I like that. Yeah. So again, guys, this so far I think we're setting up for a really good setup. I don't even know. Let's look real quickly. We haven't looked at the watch list. Let's look at the watch list pre-market to see how things are going. Probably a good time to do that. So, whoa, MSTX is retarded, but in a good way. I love it when the tracking errors are to my benefit. Up 16.54% today. Doesn't make up for all the losses yesterday, but boy, does it get close. It's getting close. Iron up 9.4. If you guys don't know, these guys had a really good quarter. They're projected for the first half of next year to be over 50 exahash. They got the HPC play. Not sure how all of it's going to turn out. I know in the Bitcoin mining community too, they're talking a lot about Bit Digital. They're talking a lot about Bit Digital because I made comments about Ethereum, and the Bitcoin mining guy jumped on the back of it, and just talking about Ethereum and talking about the fact that if it does really well, he thinks Bit Digital could do really well. I'm not sure about all of that. I haven't looked into Bit Digital enough to know their ETH holdings and like the benefits. They could get a double whammy from Bitcoin doing well and then also Ethereum doing well. So that's possible. And I don't even remember what their market cap is. Let me take a look here. I got a bunch of MSTU and MSTR yesterday because of you, Jesse. Thank you for your conviction. Hey, man, if it keeps going up, that'll be great. If it doesn't, you'll probably be like, fuck this guy. All right, Bit Digital. Bit Digital is interesting. Wow, look at that crush. So it rocketed to 571. Let's go to weekly, though. That's interesting. So we have definitely trying to go higher. It's got a very Bit Farms feel to it, and then it just gets knocked back down. Probably all those shorts. But very fascinating to see. And the RSI is continually jumping higher and higher and higher. This thing does seem like it wants to curl higher. What is the actual market cap on this thing? 574 million. I got to turn this down. Somebody's just blowing up my chat right now. I thought I had this off. I'm sorry. Let me just kill this completely. Bring this down so that I don't have to listen to all this beeping freaking noise. But yeah, so this is a small cap. This is a very, very small cap. So theoretically, I mean, this might do all right. A lot of the miners looking good, guys. Let's look at CleanSpark. Somebody asked for CleanSpark. Let me move this up real quick. Actually, I'll probably just leave. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, guys. I'm going to take off this view. So in the bottom now, guys, if you look, we're going to sort this by the watch list pre-market so that you guys can get a bead in the bottom right corner, kind of what's going on in pre-market. And I think that should give you a pretty good view. Let me just look over here on my session. It gives you a little bit. It gives you a little bit. So you get a little view. All right. So, but let's go over here real quick. I want to switch this view on the top right. I want to switch this to CleanSpark. CleanSpark's up 4%. Let's zoom in a little bit here. I think this is a really good setup, honestly. I think this is a good setup. I mean, anything can happen, guys. Shit could get weird and we could drop. It just doesn't feel like that's what's going to happen. And sometimes intuition is even better than technicals, or at least from my personal experience, I've found that to be true. I don't know if that's everybody's. Some people's intuition sucks. Some people are like, I should jump off that bridge because that person did. You don't want to be that person. But I do think, though, I think that we're still set up really well. I think we're set up really well in CleanSpark. And again, today's going to be the big day for it. We're just about to crack 94,000 in Bitcoin. If we do that, that's going to be really positive. Jesse, do you explain anywhere why you own PayPal and not stocks like NVIDIA, Palantir, HIMS, and SoFi? So I didn't own NVIDIA because I never got into it because I just missed the boat. Simple. Palantir, I was in it. I actually made $600,000 off of it last in 2023. I think it was 2023. Might have been 2022. Whatever. There was 1 year where a period of like 3 months I made 600 grand. So I made a lot of money off of that. HIMS, I just don't care. Does that count? I don't have to be invested in everything, to be clear. SoFi, I was invested in it. I didn't like the multiplier for the options, but I've been telling people it was going up the whole time. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have to own everything. And I believe there's asymmetric bets with PayPal that are going to be better than these others. So, and since I'm an asymmetric guy, that's kind of the way I follow it. But again, I was telling people down here for SoFi that this thing was getting ready to rip after having this very, very, very long downward trend line that was getting ready to be broken through. And it has ripped. It's a lot higher than 1125. And I think I was telegraphing here that it was going to 15, right? So I could be right, but I don't have to be in everything. That was October 30th. I feel like this is done. It's been a pretty accurate prediction. So it just like, again, I don't have to. I'm one person. I'm just one person, guys. I'm one person who doesn't have to be involved in everything. Oh, real quick, while we're here, I did want to talk about this. So, always avoid margin. I hate margin. Margin's the devil. Warren Buffett talks about this. Please understand that. It says, again, the less time you spend in 2 to 3x, I said, the less time you spend in these 2 to 3x vehicles, the better. I can't stress this enough. They're not meant for day traders, not long-term investing, and don't use margin. This is just me trying to make sure that people understand what they're getting into, and don't wreck themselves, okay? I want people to make money. The tools we're using, some of them are very, very powerful, and they can be dangerous. So please to God, think about what you're doing. Don't get emotional. Don't get excited by making too much money, and don't fucking destroy yourself, okay? Please, just be smart. I also want to show a few other things here. So Bitcoin treasuries, look at this. This is crazy. You can't even see it on the right because it's getting cut off by this image. I wish I could. I don't know if I could fix that. I don't think I can fix that. But it goes up even more. It's actually up. It's up like, it's hard to show here, but it's like up in this range right up here now. So the treasury is just continuing to grow. And when you look at the humble beginnings of this, and then you look at what happened, it's really, guys, for Bitcoin treasury, everybody likes to think the ETFs are such a big deal, and they are. They all help. Right? But look at what happened after the pandemic. Look at what happened a few months after that. Everybody started to realize, fuck, I don't own enough Bitcoin. I can't trust the federal government. I can't trust all of the governments of the world to be able to maintain their debts. This is crazy. What asset can I get into that will save me from the absurdity of the federal government? And that is when the Bitcoin treasury really started to take off. Look at this. Going into 2021, look at this. 2022, boom. Look at this over here. Private companies holding Bitcoin. Just look at the amount. Look at the amount that these things are. Look at this curling up over here for DeFi smart contracts. We are in a parabolic phase of Bitcoin treasury issuance and people getting involved in these things. Yeah, the dollar's fallen. It's great. How do you define your fib levels? You always seem to be pretty accurate. That's a lot of pretties. Always use log. Always use logarithmic. Down over here, this is auto fit. You could use that too. I hate it personally. I'd rather drag these up and down and resize. But you need to be on logarithmic to really be good with the assets that we're investing in, because anything that has asymmetric upside and really high price vol or its longer term charts, you got to do logarithmic. If you do that, it'll help. And then again, I'm drawing these from the bottom. I mean, they're different for every chart, and I can explain that more when we're looking at them. But you draw it from the bottom of a previous decline all the way up to for a trend-based extension, all the way up to the tippity top, all the way back down to the bottom again, and then that gives you your fib levels. You can see where CleanSpark in this case is grinding up against the first fib here. It's grinding. It's trying to get above it. There's also the 200 daily moving average that it's trying to get above. I think it's going to do it, and when it does it, it's going to take off. And that's the bet I've made, is that it's going to take off. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in the very near future. The dollar falling, the bond market volatility falling. How is the VIX doing today, guys? Let's just real quickly look at the VIX and see what is the VIX doing today. Does it want to fall too? Because if it wants to fall, we're in a good place. Susan, thank you so much for the 10 memberships. You are always a sweetie. Thinking about you and your mom. Hoping that the holidays are going good for you. Everybody thank Susan, please, for everything she does for this group. So again, I've shown the VIX crush and what happens. I show with these lines how it can, for years, we can see the VIX play out and make tons of money. These are 3-month lines. I probably should switch these at least down to 2 because they look pretty crazy. But we just had the largest VIX crush in history, and history tells us that for years we should see volatility in the stock market go down. History tells us that throughout it. I mean, we can go back to the great financial crisis, and it's all the same. It's all the same. We're going to make tons of money. Okay? So we like that. We like that the bond market. We like that the volatility or the VIX index with the stock market. We love that both of these volatility indicators for bonds and stocks, over 94,000 on Bitcoin, by the way. Who's ready to make some money today? We like that these are going down. This is good. We like that even though I think it's just a show pony, that President Biden is working with Hezbollah and Israel to create a ceasefire. I think he's doing that just for his legacy, but I don't care. Ego is an awesome tool if used correctly. So I think it's just something to save his legacy and to give the Democrats a win to say, hey, we created a ceasefire before we left office. Whether it lasts, it doesn't really matter, but it's a good headline. And also that they're trying to do that same thing and get a ceasefire in Gaza. And I don't know if that's going to happen. Good luck. But not over the short term. I think Israel wants to stamp out Hamas before they'll allow that to happen. But with lesser concerns around the world, it is a positive for markets, right? We can see this in a number of ways. One way would be the oil market, where we are at $69, a magical number. And could we break down to $42? Maybe. I mean, it's probably going to the 50s. I just wanted to say 42. Anyway, but my whole point, crypto billionaire, thank you, dude, for the 20 memberships. It's going to be one of those days, huh? You guys are awesome. Thank you, guys, very, very much. But we're going to see oil. We got drill, baby, drill in office, guys. We're going to see a minimum of dropping into the 50s on the price of oil. What is that going to do for gas? How is that going to look good for the stock market after the holidays, heading into the holidays? We've got the dollar dropping. We've got oil. It's bouncing just a little bit today, but guys, I don't know. To me, this looks like a pattern that's going to break lower. Now, it could end up doing something like this, where it breaks lower and then it turns into like a falling trade range. If it does that, then it could bounce higher for a period of time. I just don't think that's going to happen. Everything about the macro tells me that we're getting ready to break lower. Danny, 20 memberships, you guys. You guys are insane, man. I really appreciate all of you. I do, a lot. All the support, a lot. I'm going to try and do well to serve you guys in whatever way I can, and I really appreciate all the support that you guys continually give me. And again, I just wanted you guys to know I do listen to everything that our boy, let me just kill this one real quick, that our boy Michael Howell says, and many other people that are very, very smart, much smarter than I am. And global liquidity is going down, but for now, I am not concerned about this. And it's weird for me saying that because I thought, wait, how many more have happened here? What is going on? Susan, did you give 10 more? Chris, thank you. You guys can stop. We need more people in chat before you guys do more of this, okay? Like and share. All right, let's keep going. But we got a really good setup, I think. And even again, we're still in this fear and greed zone. If we look over here, we're still in greed. But I think that's doable. And let's look at crypto. I haven't looked at crypto fear and greed in a little bit. And again, guys, you're going to have the ability to be able to talk now and chat. So thank the people who gave that to you, okay? That's very nice of them to do so. All right, so if we look over here, what are we even at right now? Let's go up. I hate this one. There's so many ads. Here we go, 75. So we're in the greed zone. I think we actually dropped lower. Yeah, look at this. Last week we were in extreme greed at 83. Now we're only greed. So that's kind of cool. Again, we're trading down a little bit. The nuts part of all this is we only hit 82 for our high on the 21st, guys. Look over here. 92, 94, 95, 93, 91, 94. We literally spent 6 to 7 weeks in just the 90s back at this time. Just the 90s. I think we're going to see more craziness like that this cycle. I think markets can do really, really, really well. And I'm excited to see what they're able to accomplish. Let's look here real quickly. So we do have more data coming out, not until 8:45, so we still got 45 minutes on that. We still got about 30 minutes until the market opens. Thank you to the 900-ish people that are here. I very much appreciate you guys. I hope everybody's going to have an awesome turkey day. Somebody asked if I was streaming tomorrow. I do not cook. I will be hanging out with family, so I'm not going to be doing any kind of like check out my turkey special. But I will be here Friday morning. The market, for people who don't know, the market is open until 1 p.m., I believe, Pacific time, so about noon. So I will be there for that low volume day because that could be a good day to pump the markets, and I want to be a part of that. Copious Investment says, good morning, peeps, from Miami with love. Who else bought MSTU yesterday? Me. So MSTX is the performer today. So these weird disparities, I do not like the way these track. I'm very disappointed in these vehicles, actually. I think that they can do well and give us really sick returns over a short period of time. But again, I'm not going to be too greedy on these. I will be getting out. And we'll talk about where we're getting out. The MicroStrategy Snapshot Friday. There's so many good things. Yeah, dude, I need to save this. Let me go back over here. There is a really good chart for MicroStrategy about upcoming events. I think I grabbed it yesterday. Hopefully I saved it in here. I'm not always good. And then the bookmarks, they just suck. Oh, here we go. So this is a great chart. I need to put this in a separate standalone. So this is showing the Thanksgiving orange pilling that I was talking about, where you guys talk to your friends and family about orange pilling them into Bitcoin. And then we have the NASDAQ 100 ranking day snapshot that occurs the next day on Friday. So that will decide whether or not, with inclusion, just the ranking system, inclusion, all these kind of things on what we're doing going forward. The Bitcoin MENA conference, I don't even know what that is, but again, just more stuff in front of us. Microsoft shareholder vote is happening on December 10th. The NASDAQ 100 additions announcement, that's based off the snapshots of November 29th, occurs on December 13th. That we could pump just up into that for MicroStrategy, just in anticipation of that news event. Probably would be a sell the news event. December Fed meeting, the 18th, we're probably getting a rate cut. That should help too. NASDAQ 100 reconstitution, Microsoft inclusion on the 20th is what it's saying on here. If that ends up happening, it says to be confirmed. Christmas Day orange pilling, New Year's orange pilling. We're going to be orange pilling the shit out of people. MicroStrategy's long-term options expiration, January 17th. Presidential inauguration, January Fed meeting. MicroStrategy Q4, February. There's just the Microsoft strategy Q1 earnings with FASB accounting. That will occur on May 1st. That'll be the first time we get to see earnings for MicroStrategy based off FASB accounting rules. Again, all these inclusion potentials and then this FASB accounting rules, that right there is probably an additional $50, $60. Maybe more now on MicroStrategy's price just with the FASB accounting rule changes. Shit, it's probably closer to 100 because I'm not including all the Bitcoin they just bought. That's totally new. So there's just a lot going on with MicroStrategy that's going to be very, 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 very exciting. Very exciting. So I hope you understand that. Oh, you can gift X Premium. Oh, I might have to do that for some people. Bitcoin Archive, Michael Saylor to present Microsoft board next month on buying Bitcoin for their treasury. Microsoft, yep. All the craziness. Let me go back over here. So let's see. Let's just go to the Bitcoin. There's more stuff. We already looked at this chart earlier. It's a great one. It just shows how we're getting ready to go parabolic. This was a cut from August, though. So we've already started part of that, but just a little bit. I mean, it's like right here. Okay, right here. But Bitcoin mining guy, again, nobody knew who CleanSpark and Iron were last cycle. I did. But whatever. Now these two companies are becoming the largest players in the Bitcoin mining world. 100 SGD. I don't know what that is, but thank you very much, Austin. It looks like a big number. Too many memberships on offer, so just do Superheat instead. Thanks so much, Jesse, for everything you do for this community. I am happy to, man. It's my privilege. If anything, I was stressing out yesterday because I was afraid that I'm going to wreck a bunch of people with MicroStrategy with these MSTU and MSTX plays because they didn't know what they were getting into. So I do care about you guys, and I want everybody to prosper, and I want you to understand what you're doing, and it's my pleasure. Vivek said in here, Vancouver plans to adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. That seems like a big deal. Just in, strategic Bitcoin reserve bill has been tabled in Brazil's Chamber of Deputies. Brazil is practically a communist organization right now, but this is sitting in front of them. We'll see if they pass it. It would be a good sign, I think, in the direction of Brazil and where they're headed. Moody's upgrades El Salvador's sovereign debt. I don't know if you heard about El Salvador. They do Bitcoin mining from volcanoes. Pretty cool concept. They've been buying a Bitcoin every day, I think, for a while, and they don't need you, IMF. They don't need you, central bank. They gave you the proverbial middle finger. And you know what they got back from it? An upgrade. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is beautiful. El Salvador will be one of the richest countries in the world, and they'll have done that off the back of really smart shit. I need to adjust this. I didn't even realize this is in my Bitcoin one. I want to get this in my MSTR one. Gotta keep well-organized bookmarks, guys. Gotta keep your life organized, even though don't look at my house. It's a mess. My new house will be beautiful. Dennis Porter, this is 15 hours ago. He says, I can confirm that three new states will make a Bitcoin strategic reserve legislation announcement next month. Stay tuned. 3 states are talking about having Bitcoin as a reserve. Maybe that's why Bitcoin is at 94,500 right now. Yeah, JT, much love to you and your family. What are we talking about over here? JT, dang, just got news my mom just lost her oldest sister today. Hug your family. Yeah, dude, life is so short. Life is so short. You really just have to, it doesn't pay to be angry and upset and feel like your life isn't good and to be jealous of others. There's just such little time. I find that if you're grateful for all the things you have in life, it's a much better way to live it. I know that sounds too easy, but it's really just that. Don't look at your spouse or your kids or say like, oh, I wish I had more time, and oh, they aren't doing the same stuff I'm doing. They're not doing enough, blah, 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 blah. I'm so great. They're not. If you live your life like that, you'll be continually dissatisfied with everything in it. But if you live it looking at the things people do for you and how much they care about you, and then show appreciation for that, you'll be much happier. I can tell you from personal experience because I lived the other life for a very long time. Bitcoin Magazine, $872 billion Standard Chartered Bank says $125,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year is still in play despite the dip. I actually agree with that. How insane is that? My buddy Danny Marquise. Oh, I'm so bad with some names. He says, folks losing their minds on Bitcoin miners again. That's okay. I'm here to remind you of this one chart and why you should remain very bullish. Again, this is WGMI for people who don't know. This is like a bucket of Bitcoin miners and versus, and this is comparing it. This is they call it the pair to Bitcoin. And what it's showing you is Bitcoin miners look like they're bottoming and they look like they're getting ready to go up. And there's 2 spots in here, right? There's this red de-risk area. I'm actually going to add this, guys, and I need to get this on my list. If I still have to add tickers, that's why I've got a bunch up here. Or, well, you can't see them, but I've got a bunch in the right because I didn't add them yesterday in Discord. I will be doing that today, Matthew, the architect in our Discord, the badass. And then I will also be looking to add WGMI BTC pairing because this is a really great thing to track, and I want to put alerts on it. Because this first area as a de-risk zone, I think, is a brilliant one for miners. And then the second one is get the fuck out. It's get the fuck out. And it's basically where, hey, these miners are really high levels. Definitely no leverage, no options, watch out. But this has done a really good job of showing some tops. This isn't going back to like the beginning of time. It's 2022. But again, this was the time in the last cycle to get out. And then there's this, mid beginnings, pump area. And you could just see again where I think it's a great chart. I think it's a brilliant chart. We love Danny. Make sure you follow Danny. Anybody who is working hard for us, we should follow. So check him out. I'm going to retweet this again just so you guys can follow him again. If you missed it last time, look at his work, especially this piece right here. And anytime as a community we see him posting something about this, we should be paying attention to it, okay? The Pilot Mindset, thank you very much for joining and becoming a member. I'm actually going to post this one too. But follow Danny. We like to support people that are great and that support us. Income Sharks is showing the bounce that we had done off this range and saying it's kind of this simple. And for people who are worried about what's going to happen, like when we run out of halvings, just don't worry. You'll be dead. Okay? You'll be dead. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. If one of your friends, relatives at some lunch thing or on Thanksgiving asks you a question and says, hey, guys, what aren't you worried about what happens when the block rewards stop with Bitcoin and all they have are fees? You can be like, the last one is in 2136, and I plan on being dead. So just tell them that, and that should assuage any fears they have, but maybe make them question their mortality. All right, November 25th, BlackRock bought 2,821 Bitcoin that day. Look at the trajectory of this, guys. You got to realize this. BlackRock is ready for this to go higher. They've been walking around for a year. They've been running around all over. We've got 19 minutes until the bell, 18. They've been running around for a year telling people to buy Bitcoin. And they've been loading up. They've been buying miners. They've been buying MicroStrategy. And they've been stacking in IBIT, the largest Bitcoin ETF fund in the world. And they're ready to go. So if you doubt the ability for the largest asset manager on earth to be able to push this thing higher, then you are not paying attention. You're not paying attention. And again, just reminders, like Bitcoin's kind of special. It has no founder. It has no ruling foundation. It has no pre-mine. It has no insiders. It has no initial investors. It has no office. There is no website. There is a website, but it's not the website. There are no paid executives. There's no marketing team. There's no has no paid dev team. That's kind of a lie because there are Bitcoin that Bitcoin network is being developed all the time. It's just slow and with a rule of we can't increase the supply. and we need to make sure that this is able to stay decentralized. But there are people that have given money to the developers of Bitcoin. There's things called hard forks and soft forks. I won't go into all that. Maybe I should at some point so people understand why Bitcoin is going to be so resilient in the future. Because even if somebody fucked with it and took over the network for even just a short period of time, you could hard fork the network with the core believers and then make it to where it can basically be mined with some mining machines versus others. There's things you could do to make it to where the network is still just super resilient. And it's built in to be resilient. It's built in to where if you've got a large amount of money in this and you can move the market, that it behooves you to do the right thing and benefit, Bitcoin. And that's why even though Michael Saylor is getting a growing strength in this, and even though BlackRock is, the benefit for them is to see it do well. And so that's what makes it so resilient on top of so many other things. It's immutable, which means it can't be altered. The ledger has never been altered in its 16 years of existence. That's probably a little bit of a lie. There's an alpha phase where it was altered a little bit when they were building it. So, I mean, that's some people say that, but it's not really true. There was just like a really short period of time where they did have to change a few things. Ethereum actually had to literally change, like hard fork, break away, and they had tons of problems. But Bitcoin is by far the most resilient. It's transportable. It can go anywhere on Earth. There's people that move billions of dollars for a handful of like $5. Just imagine that. And the governments can't control it. All they can do is join. Alejandro, what's up? Trump wants to create the second industrial revolution in America, and he thinks crypto, AI, nanotech, biotech, and quantum tech could lead to a 4.5. I don't know if he thinks all of that, but he definitely is super pro-growth. He's low energy cost. He's low taxation. And he is for embracing technologies that will help America, and he wants the free market to do that. And that is a huge, huge benefit to America in the years ahead. I actually think we're heading into a golden age I actually think we're heading into our golden age as a society and a civilization. I think we're getting ready to see more positive transformation than we ever could have dreamed, and that we're turning into Star Trek. And that people that embrace this are going to get exponentially richer than they are right now. So that's my bias. My bias is literally, make Americans rich again. It's not just that, though, Panina Spolter. It's not just that. It's that in enriching ourselves, we can enrich the world, okay? We can help the world avoid catastrophe, and that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do, and it's the perfect alignment, guys. I've said this a billion times already, and probably ad nauseum for some of the people in the chat, but we're just seeing the perfect alignment of things that I never could have guessed. I never could have hoped for. I have hope for them, but I never could have hoped and would have expected that they'd turn out the way they are right now. Never. Dylan, I saw a McAfee interview on the interwebs this AM, BTC, where he addresses Jamie Dimon. My God, was that dude a time traveler? He was brilliant. He also did a lot of cocaine and other drugs, and he might have murdered somebody. And then he might have gotten murdered in prison. But he was an interesting cat. Definitely an interesting dude. Be humble, be great says, you have to work on your Portuguese, though. You are butchering Danny's last name. How bad? Can somebody sound it out for me in chat? Is it Portuguese? Danny's name is Portuguese. Sorry, Danny. Hey, man. I told people to subscribe to you, though, so you can't hate me. Marquez? I don't know. Whatever, man. Whatever, guys. I have benefits beyond my pronunciation skills. All right. Jesse, what's your response to Neil Kashkari seeing that Neil's kind of an idiot? That's my response. But saying that there's no use case. Oh, man. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I don't respond to people that say there's no use case for Bitcoin and that it's speculative. I don't respond to them. That's my response. There is none. All right. Susan Yu, back at you, Susan. You're the sweetest. She is. She's a great person. Tyler Casamente, CleanSpark announcement after close has a history of announcements right before holidays. What? Are they? Oh, God. Matthew Schultz, are you listening to me? Are you listening to me, Matthew? If you are listening and you are doing a convertible debt bond offering, no homo, but I love you if you're doing that, bro. So we haven't seen anything. Again, I think they're kind of in a... do we know if there's an announcement coming? Is there an announcement coming? Do we know? Jesse, just say CR7 is GOAT, and all Portuguese will forever forgive your pronunciation. CR7 is GOAT. I don't know what that means, but sure. There you go. And if that's an investment, I am not supporting it. I just said that because he told me to. Okay? So, yeah, we haven't heard anything from Schultz since the 22nd. Is there an actual announcement, though, guys? Just speculation. Okay. I mean, there's always speculation. I don't trust much of that most of the time, unless I know it to be true. Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everybody loves Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Is that why is it CR7 though? What is his number 7? Never mind. Okay, I get it now. That would make sense. Yeah, everybody loves Cristiano Ronaldo. He's like one of the most subscribed people on earth, I think. Yeah, okay. Nothing too interesting here. Just the underperformance. That's kind of interesting. Oh, but this is Caleb. Caleb's been shitting on all the miners. He's taken his run for being right about MicroStrategy, which he has been. You got to give him that. But I do think he's going to be wrong in the second half. So I don't think he's going to be able to do this for too long. I think my age and experience is going to surpass you, Caleb. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to be right. We already know that. Ooh, my buddy, Mr. Bear Hewitt. This guy's only 20-something. I love him. He's got 2,000 followers now. I think that's better than what he had before. I love this. He's showing basically the channel and then the different resistance zones based upon the channel. Shift pitchfork daily chart. I love that he does a really good job representing these and then just showing the icons and showing what they are. And It looks like he's got a little, yeah, he's giving you his handle. Very smart. I'm going to share this out. I love this kid's work. I say kid because he's in his 20s. That's like a child to me. So, but I love his work. And I don't actually think we're going to go down further. I do think we're going to break out higher. And I think that just the way Fibonacci works, this works too. A lot of this works. You can look at all these. 94,500 still looking really good on Bitcoin so far. Really good. What is the argument for owning actual BTC when there are so many ways to get the price action? Yeah, that's a good question. So it's the best. It's the best container. You might not get the best return off of it, but it's the best way to hold Bitcoin is to actually own Bitcoin. Now, you might not get the same return, but you're not subject to the whims and miscalculations of MSTU and MSTX. You're not subject to the risk of a company as your container for Bitcoin, which is MSTR. Because again, there is risk. There is risk in people. There is risk in companies. There is risk in countries. There's risk. So it is the least risky. It might not give you the same return, but it is the least risky way to own Bitcoin. Yes, self-sovereignty, says Sam. BTC, store value. Yeah. It's removing all the risk of all the third parties. And third-party risk, for anybody who remembers a couple years ago when FTX was failing, Celsius was failing, and Voyager, and just a million more companies, you understand the value of just owning Bitcoin. You get it. You get it, right? You get the value of not having it on an exchange. You get the self-sovereignty of Bitcoin because you've been through it, right? Now, I think that the risk from governments is getting reduced. I think the risk for MicroStrategy is low right now, but will grow for downside potential, not just like craziness. I don't really believe. I think they're too well managed for craziness. But I remember, and I was listening to James, and I think Mike Alfred said something, and I think it was unfair. I want to go back to this real quick. I want to speak to this. I don't like to get involved in people's fucking drama at all, but I do want to stick up for my friends. And James Invest Answers is brilliant. And he's a great dude. And I very much believe in his character. He's not selling you a $2,400 course, right? It's like fucking $10 or $8 or something for his Patreon, and it's worth it. And so people said, well, hey, why isn't James in here? James is better than all these guys. And I agree with that. I agree with that. But, and he should have been in there because he would have won. But somebody said Invest Answers, and he said, sorry, I didn't include scammers on this list. I don't like that at all. That's not true. And there was actually a conversation in here where James was talking for a second, and he said that the greatest mistake he's made is by allowing the CEO of Celsius to be on his channel. But I want to defend him because everybody did that. Everybody let Mashinsky on their channel because Mashinsky was just, he sounded really believable. He sounded really honest. He felt like a good guy. But what we didn't realize was he was doing what a lot of companies were doing. He was levering up and basically suffering from the potential of liquidation risk. And that's what happened. And I can't blame James for that. Okay. This guy deserves a fucking mistake. He literally got me into Solana early and got a lot of people in at the bottom. And he got people early on MicroStrategy and has held the line the whole time. And he gives out wicked analytics. I think he's much better than me in time for value. So again, I don't want people to be shit on and people to get the wrong perception about who James is as a person. I think he's amazing. And he's been nothing but kind to me. Nothing but kind to me. A very, very small account. He's answered my questions. He's given me advice. He's been awesome. So this is the behind the scenes stuff you might not hear. Now, could he be a con artist? Maybe. But I'd give it like a 0.00001% chance. And I've just got to say, I think he's a wonderful person. And I want people to know that. Okay. because you can't just shit on people because they might have made a mistake. I don't think that's right. I make mistakes every fucking day. I got people 48 hours early in on MSTU and MSTX, and over the short term, that was definitely a mistake. Okay? Should you hate me for it? I hope not. Right? So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because I just don't like that. I don't like it when people go after my friends, and I consider him to be one, even though I've never actually met him in person. But he's a good dude, and I respect him greatly, and I think other people should too. And so I just wanted to pass that on. All right, let's see here. We got 4 minutes, guys. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Oh, I do want to check yields real quickly while we're waiting. I'm going to refresh this, and we're going to turn it. I'm going to mute it for now, but we'll keep that going. But yeah, just so you guys know, especially new people, I don't want you to get the wrong perception. I don't know. Mike Alfred doesn't seem like too bad of a guy, but he's wrong. And if you're listening, Mike, you're wrong. So stop talking shit about James. All right. Fraser says, Jesse, why are you concerned? Why are you concerned with making money on social media if you're so profitable with your trading? Why am I concerned with making money on social media? I don't know that I'm concerned about it. Making millions a year don't mean any disrespect. It's just an obvious question. Is it obvious? I don't think it's obvious. So I'm not concerned about it. 8 months ago, I wasn't making anything. And today I'm probably making $275,000 a year. That's weird. It's not what I expected. It's way more than I ever made in my professional life. It's getting to the point to where it's almost 4x of what I made at my highest level in my professional career. So I don't know. I like making money. Is there anything wrong with that? How many people tell you how much they make on social media? Does anybody do that? Does anybody provide the level of transparency? If there's any way I beat James, it's this. I show you guys everything all the time. I give you everything. And then I use the money that I receive to be able to reinvest in the channel and the work that I do. I want to be able to make videos that are broken down more. I don't want the architect, my boy Matthew, to do all that stuff for free. So I don't know. I think, does it fucking matter? Does it matter if I make money on social media? And how do I make, I'm sorry, but I do find some disrespect in that because I don't think I push that at all. At all. To be all in with my work is $12 a month. Tell me where you can find more value outside of James. I mean, he's an easy one. He's more value. I would be subscribed to him. I am actually. Probably don't look at his stuff enough. But yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm like super focused on it, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate the growth. It excites me. I'm somebody who is driven by working hard and growing as a person. And so I like numbers too. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. So anyway, that's me. That answers your question. All right, real quickly, we got 1 minute, and we're gonna hop over and listen to these guys for a second.
Remember, everybody bought PCs during COVID, and then since then, it's been a give back in the cycle. So waiting for companies to upgrade, it feels like it's time. And then the new AI PCs, again, both Dell and HP, still sounding very bullish on that front. On AI servers, which is key for Dell, 3.6 billion in orders. That was up from 3.2 billion last quarter. Also, potentially a push out in the AI server business due to Black.
Who? Matt Morman? Matt Morman, does he have a handle on X? I'd like to follow him. If he's transparent like me, I want to know who he is. Matt. Oh, my bad. That ain't it. Matt Morman. Is he just a YouTube person? Watts? Is Matt Morman just a YouTube person? I don't see him on X. I don't have a lot of time to watch YouTube. I know that sounds ridiculous to say. Thank you to the 1,000+ people that are here, but I don't have time to watch YouTube, people. I watch James like once or twice a week, and I just scan some of his stuff. So, and I love him. I think he's incredible. So, if that guy's great, then people should follow him if he's on X. If he's not on X, why is he not on X? Tell that guy to be on X. It's stupid for him not to. All right, let's get back over. We got bell ringing here.
Blackwell coming from NVIDIA. Remember,
Kind of missed
they're a
it,
big
but
partner
whatever.
there
We'll play it
and
out.
do a lot of business. Also, keep in mind, David Dell had seen the tremendous run-up into this result, potentially why stock is getting hit so hard today. But the forecast missed by $1 billion.
All right, this is going to refresh. It'll take a sec.
It's interesting that it's consumer that conceivably is what is pressuring the stock, given it's a small percentage of their business. But down 18%
Oh, thank you,
is
Timely.
not nothing. What were they,
Here.
up 3% or so?
I'm going to let the
I
bell
think,
ring, and then I'll acknowledge
in
that.
terms of the corporate side of the PC business. But that down 18% for consumer is certainly concerning investors. And as Sarah mentioned, though, you think AI is the growth engine here, and when it comes to servers, they put up a good number. And the
Wow,
inventory
Iron's
number
up
as well,
16%,
I believe, is
guys.
also quite strong at what backlog, I should say, at 4.5 billion. Carl.
Ding, 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 ding. Look at these guys. We got Santa.
Let's get
On what is
What the hell is Santa doing there today? You're a little early, bro. MSTX outperforming. Again, I do not like these vehicles. I do not like MSTU and MSTX. I feel like Sam I am. I do not like MSTU and MSTX. I do not. No, because they're not tracking well. It's pissing me off. But look at Iron today, guys. 21% on Iron. Congrats to everybody holding Iron. I've still got a decent chunk. I don't know if it's 300,000 or more, but I've got some, and it's doing really well today, and that makes me happy. And MicroStrategy doing well today. ARB up, CleanSpark up 5%, Mara up 5%, ETH up 5%, HIMS up 4.6%. Still seems like a Thanksgiving rally to me. Hood up 3%, getting a bounce back from yesterday too. I sold out of most of my Hood. We'll find out if that's a mistake later on or not. Could be. But again, always trying new things. Bitfarm up almost 3.5%. That's pretty good for Bitfarms. It's been sucking. That's a smaller cap. Smaller caps will probably come in later. I probably should add, guys, real quickly. Let me see how I do this. So I'm on the watch list. Can I just add here? I want to add Bit Digital in here too, since people are talking about that a lot because of the fact that it has Ethereum holdings. I want to track how that's doing. So let me see here. See if we get some Bit Digital. Bit Digital up 6%. So again, maybe that narrative's starting to pick up there too. I think MSTU tracks pretty well. MSTX is off sometimes. They both are. But look, MSTX is off, but it's off to your benefit because MSTR is 7.16%. MSTU is under that right now. And MSTX is giving you much better than a 14.3% return. So again, they're tracking all over the place. That can suck on down days. But today, it doesn't suck today, does it, guys? Today, we'd rather have it tracking to the upside and outperforming. We don't mind that shit at all. So today's a good day. If you can't handle the ride, guys, of MSTX and MSTU, today is probably a good day to get off the train. Timely Investor says that one thing I love about you, Jesse, is I ask you a question on X and you reply, even though you have a big following. That's hugs for me. From me, you've done so much for all of us. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, man. I try to. I can't be on everything all the time, but I try to at least respond where I can, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Let me see what else we got here. Go Iron, yeah. Matt Smith, there's our boy. There's the architect. Gunnar and Grace having the paywall does help reduce scammers and bots actually protecting the members. Yeah, dude, if that's one thing, that's super helpful. Even just the $2. That's why I lowered it down to $2 on YouTube. I actually hate YouTube, and I'm not a big fan of it, but it's the best platform for me to do videos on. I do it on X too because I want to grow on X because I like X way more and I want to support it more. And I don't like censorship, but that's why I reduce things down to $2 for like the starter pack new, so that people pay the bare minimum, but also you don't have to deal with the garbage. Because people who just want to bitch and moan and complain or want to scam you, they're not usually willing to pay $2 a month to do it. So we get rid of a lot of trash and we have good conversations with each other, and I love that. I would much rather have good conversations with you guys than listen to trash. The Machine, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. You guys have been amazing. Definitely feeling the Thanksgiving today, guys. We got a conversation about OpenAI going on and SoftBank going on CNBC. I'm kind of curious about that. I'm going to back up the truck just a little bit so we can listen to this one.
Yeah.
Complained about big tech.
I'm also going to just scan CNBC real quickly, guys. It looks like we're pushing closer to 95,000. That is a good uptick. You'll notice in the bar that down below here, though, I do show how what we really want to see is getting up to the 96, 97,000 range, and then being able to maintain that, preferably break above it and turn it into support. In order to avoid rolling over again. So if you're looking to get off this MSTX train, the 95 plus range before we hit 96 is a good time to do that. If you have fear, that is the time to unfear right there. All right, let me just move this around here since we don't need this in the bottom anymore. I'm just going to move this and leave that there. And then, yeah, let's listen to him. One sec here. I'm kind of missing some of this.
Through SoftBank. $1.5 billion stake to SoftBank. This is going to be through a tender offer where current and former employees.
So SoftBank is looking to put more money into OpenAI, a company that wants to take over the world and capture and imprison humanity, or at least that's my impression of Sam Altman.
Will sell their shares. Masayoshi Masa's son, as he's also known, his SoftBank first invested $500 million in OpenAI back in October. You remember that mega round? This is all happening through SoftBank's Vision Fund 2. A source tells me Masa was what they described as persistent in looking for another opportunity to put more cash into OpenAI. It does raise SoftBank's total stake in this startup to roughly $2 billion. And at a conference recently, he said he is saving tens of billions of dollars to make the next big move in AI. OpenAI and SoftBank did decline to comment on this one, guys. It is a way, though.
Real quickly, somebody said they moved their account over to, Troy said he moved his account over to Robinhood. Yes, you can. There are ways to, when you're in the Robinhood app, it shows like your default portfolio. There's a button in the bottom right down at the middle. And if you press that button right down here, that middle button, it should get you to your IRA or your main accounts, and then you can switch between them. So do that.
For current and former employees to get cash, they need to have held those stocks, those RSUs, restricted stock units, for at least 2 years. This is increasingly common. It's increasingly important in tech in Silicon Valley amid this IPO drought. I did report yesterday that Databricks is in a similar situation. They're raising between $5 and $8 billion also to get employees some liquidity. But for OpenAI, also a signal to potential employees, I'm told, that if this company is not going to go public anytime soon, there are ways to capitalize on its meteoric rise in value. One person tells me, expect more secondaries going forward, and it is going to need to tap private markets again in the not too distant future, guys. Back to you.
And the numbers are staggering, Kate. I mean, they raised, what, $6 billion not that long ago. This is another $1.5 billion. As you say, some of it also just going for employees to essentially cash out, or former employees. But at least they got a $4 billion. What's that? You know, the numbers in terms of when you speak to the investors.
I think OpenAI is going to be a disaster. We'll see. Disease Kodak, you have CleanSpark. Yeah, I think CleanSpark's going to still do fine, man. I've got a shit ton in CleanSpark. I have, let's see here. Let me refresh my screen and see how much CleanSpark I have. I have a lot. It's a lot of CleanSpark, okay? I have over 500,000 still in CleanSpark. It got hit pretty hard yesterday, like everything did. And it's probably up even more than that. I just can't see that because the first hour of trading is really weird. And it doesn't show you all your gains really well, at least on Ally, and some of the other exchanges appear to be that way too. So, but I think that's going to pop, and it's going to look pretty good. MSTX up 22%, MSTU only up 16%. So again, kind of lagging. I think I have $1.3 or $1.4 million in these microstrategy plays right now. In my main account, I'm actually today up over almost $150,000. Still down across the board with these, but moving up quickly. It's going to be interesting to see how those turn out. Let's see. What else have we looked at today? Are there other things? I guess, you know what? We should just dial down the line. Let's just look at some of these and see how we're doing today. Again, iron is sitting really good, guys. Really good on iron. You should be making a lot of money. They're up over 22% on the day. Looks really great. And again, if we get some kind of, if we get some good, do you plan to take any profit on iron? Not really. I'm going to be riding these for a while. I don't have options on iron, though, so it's not the same strategy as what I'll be using for Clean Spark when it takes off. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, so looking good. BITX good, MicroStrategy good, HIMS good, up double digits on HIMS. HIMS is just screaming. What is the valuation of HIMS? It's got to be so high right now. They did have a great quarter, though. Let's look over here. Yeah, look at that quarter net income, 76 million. Off of 401 million in revenue and free cash flow of 88 million out of that. Beautiful number, still very highly valued at a 71 forward PE ratio. But could it go higher? I mean, shit, sure. HIMS, you got to remember, HIMS was at 854 and now it's in the 30s. Pretty crazy, and that's just from year to date. So this thing's been a beast. This thing's been a beast since the beginning of the year where it was kind of dead. My buddy Adam really had a good one on that. He came in early. What's your opinion on Square? I think Square could pop. Do you own any Doge? Yes, I do. I don't remember the exact amount. It's on my shitcoin list. I've got it across a few different accounts. But yeah, I own Doge. I definitely own Doge. Let me see here. There's some bonk in this one. There's not a lot of Doge in this one. This one only has 5,000 in my Coinbase account, but it's doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Let's look at the shitcoins actually real quickly. See how they're doing on the day. Look at the monthly on these. Insane. But today, not bad. Weekly, still pretty good. Except for Peanut. Monthly, amazing. Except for Popcat and probably Peanut. And Helium. But looking pretty sick on these. Definitely doing real good. Let me see if macro, micro, not to be confused with me. Ooh, they got a 45% off sale. I think I am subscribed to this. Oh, maybe I'm not. No, I think I am. I think I resubscribed. I'm going to move this over real quick and jump into it. I just want to see what else they have for interesting data points. And again, guys, the MR, there's a bunch. There's the Puel multiple. There's the NPL something. There's so many different top indicators, and we're just not even close on them, guys. Let me sort real quickly. I should look at Glassnode more. Let me zoom this into 1125. So this is where we are on Glassnode in regard to the MVRVZ score and its prediction for whether or not we're going to drop. So it's went down a little bit. It's down here. Oh, wait, no, it's just a little bit higher. It's up here. But look at the distance we have until this thing triggers to let us know that it is overvalued. It is substantially higher than it is right now. Let me see. Oh, hey, there is a thing on here. Let me see. So I do have a subscription, I think. Maybe. Black Unlock 45% off MM Prime plus 6-month access to Industrial Intelligence Hub. All right, that's kind of interesting. So let me see here. We got a bunch of dates. I don't know why this stuff. So let me just look. Sometimes this is more enlightening than some of the other systems that are out there, just because they have better data points. Not always, but sometimes. Again, PCE price, guys. We didn't go into great detail on this, but having a non-core of 2.1 is a great number. It basically shows that inflation is gone, and this is the personal consumption expenditure. Yeah, I think I was listing that wrong earlier, but yeah, the personal consumption expenditure price index. So this is like the end consumer and how much they're paying in regard to the inflation rate. And so it's really, really low. We're getting ready to hit 95,000 now, guys. Exit strategy for Doge. I mean, all my shitcoins are the same. It's get the fuck out near the top, right? And we'll be using a bunch of things like Glassnode to be able to determine where the top is. Let me see. I think I still have some of these saved in here. Difficulty ribbon, something different. This is interesting, though. The difficulty ribbon is interesting. Let's see. Balance on exchanges, stacked. I don't know if I have this figure. Yeah, I got to upgrade to Pro. This is where I've got to upgrade and pay $800 a month. Still trying to figure out if Crypto Quant's better or if this is better. Boy, you can, yeah, let me see. Fuel multiple. There's another one, okay? So we looked at the MVRVZ score. I don't know why I can't talk today more than some days. But again, this is another roughly good way to look. The MVRVZ score did a better job than this at determining the top, though. So I don't like to use fuel multiple as much anymore. We got balance on exchanges. You can see this number just plummeting. Look at this. We are at the lowest number for balances on exchange. I don't know exactly when the data point ends. Is this real time? 11:26. So look at the plummet, guys. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, or I'm going to zoom in, I should say. We're going to get closer here. So this is the 2017 bull market. This is when I entered down here, right? This is when I started buying miners and getting involved in Bitcoin. Look, though, what has happened. Look at how we're rolling over. Normally in a bull market cycle, what happens is you get more Bitcoin on exchanges. That's this orange line right here. You get more Bitcoin on exchanges. Ask me why. Great. I'll be happy to tell you. It is because people are trying to get ready to sell their Bitcoin because they have like a price. So they put in an order and they say, hey, if it gets to this price, GTFO. And so they put those orders in, and that creates artificial sell pressure. Or I shouldn't say artificial, it's real, but it creates sell pressure that gets in the way of this, right? And then that sell pressure will make it to where, it can cause these huge drops that we see here because people are just selling out, and then stuff gets bought up, and it creates massive amounts of volatility. What we're seeing this time is just wildly different. So you see here, even before, right at this point when we started to take off after the halving, you can see how Bitcoin on exchanges just kept going up. The supply is less. It's dropping dramatically. It's at its lowest level since January of 2021. Why? How come MicroStrategy is up, but my 3X is down on the day? I don't know. I'm not in 3LMI. It could be a weird miscalculation thing. Again, some of these vehicles are a little sketchy. Probably a sign that you want to just do a 2X if you're going to do any leverage at all. But look at this. We're down to levels going back to December of 2020. That's where we're at right now for Bitcoin on exchanges, and it's continuing to drop at a time where demand is going exponentially higher. This is a huge chart for you guys to understand, but there's a bunch of things. I've got a bunch in here. There's a bunch more that I probably need to add. Pi cycle top indicator. This is a good one. Benjamin Cohen talks about this one. So if you look over here, you can see where right over here, when these lines, when the 111 DMA and the 350 DMA X2 cross, we've reached the peak. You can see how it happened here in 2017. You can see how it happened right over here and told you the top in April of 2021. You can see how we're nowhere near it right now. You need some honey, my guy. Fix that throat up. Yeah, I do. I have problems with my esophagus that go down with the issues that I have in my stomach. So it's kind of a... And then talking a lot. It's a combination of things. My iron is up 24% today, guys. This is good for all the miners. I hope you know this. Markets are closed tomorrow, but they're open from 8:30 to noon on Friday, and I'll be doing Friday. Did really good day today, guys. Don't be upset if you don't own iron. I do, but don't be jelly. There's a lot of other things that are going to do really good. Somebody said ARKG was up. Yeah, ARKG's up 3%. Cool. It's going to start going up more and more and more. It'll become risk on. DLO's up too. Even BABA's up, guys. You're going to see liquidity coming. We're going to see more messages about that. Anybody got any news events that have happened? Heartburn from coffee? No, not so much heartburn. Just a lot of indigestion. I mean, it rolls up into my throat, but it's from coffee. What does it? Coffee, alcohol, any kind of smoking, spicy foods, highly processed foods, fried foods, mushrooms, roughage like salads, like everything, dude. Like everything. Like all food. If I stay away from food, I'm good. Then I feel wonderful. PayPal's up a little bit. Tesla's up a little bit. It looks like it might have been a good idea to sell Tesla calls yesterday to be able to capitalize on this MicroStrategy move. So far, that looks like a good move. We'll see if it maintains, but it looks good so far. Not a lot of losers. Again, I've said this before, guys. I said this. And the occasional Tums. No, I can't really do Tums. I don't want to reduce acid. I'm trying to get rid of taking stuff like that because I want the acid to naturally come back into my stomach so that I can process food better. The more I eat meat, the better I am, for sure. I just have to chew it a lot. But yeah, it's way better. 3 Americans released from China in prisoner swap program. I got a feeling China's going to be playing ball a lot, guys. Does anybody remember when I said, real quickly here, I want to pull this up. Does anybody remember when I said that NVIDIA could drop, and in dropping, it would still not hurt markets, and that markets could still go up while NVIDIA underperformed? Does anybody remember that? Does anybody remember that? I don't know if you do remember that, but that's what I said, and that is true and appears to be true, because right now we've got this rising, broadening wedge, and that's not a good sign for NVIDIA at all, and we just broke down through it. So NVIDIA isn't looking super good right now. It could find support here. This is a great zone to find support, or down at 132, or worst case, even down in the 130 range. Lots of volume down here. So do I expect the measured move to bring us way down? I really don't. Jason, thank you very much for gifting a membership. I really don't, but it could happen, and I think it's something that you need to be aware of. And the measured move, if that were to happen, would be a really, really pretty strong drop from this trumpet like rising, broadening wedge that could get you down to this zone. So this doesn't have to happen. We could bounce here and go higher. These are the two areas. So it's either we go up, but I don't know if this risk to reward is worth it on a $3.3 trillion company. There's just very little upside. So I'm going to err on the side of this thing could roll over more, and you should be ready for that. That's what I'm going to, and again, could it still go up here and get to 169? Yeah, it can. But I don't love it right now, guys. Looking at ARKG, let's roll through a bunch of stuff here. Oh, and I think we have more data coming out, guys, in 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Should be good. I got so much clutter on here. Sorry about that. But I'm kind of signaling the same thing I signaled with SoFi, is what I think can come. And I've actually got this placed out pretty well. Lots of junk on here. I should probably do this. I should move this over here. I should move this over here, because this is probably better representative of the time frames that I'm thinking of. And then I'll just get rid of this line, because, I mean, these are kind of already telegraphing that, right? So this is an investment that has been down from its all-time high by a massive amount for almost 1,400 days. Kind of a big deal. And I think it's going to be a good investment. I haven't added a lot to it recently, but I do think that this is something that I could add more to if other things really outperform. It's still down a little less than 80% from its all-time high. That's a crazy number. It's been trading in this range for a long time. It's definitely confirmed this bottom in my mind. So I'm going to lessen this a little bit here. Oh, my bad. One sec. I'm going to change this to light because I want to represent that it's not active in play. This is the active support right here, perfectly represented as resistance, support, support. Couldn't get to support. Sport, right? And this, we've already broken out of this. We're going to get rid of that clutter. And these charts are available on the Discord, guys. Trying to add more and more all the time. Trying to do a better job managing it. Luckily, I got people like Admin Wife and Matthew and DJ and a bunch of others. But yeah, so this I expect this to go a lot higher in the quarters ahead. Just maybe not right now, but in the quarters ahead. The leaps look good. Are people front running the leaps? The leaps got hit pretty hard yesterday. Leaps are up 6% today, or maybe more even. Yeah, wow. But yeah, I do think, though, this is one that I'm excited about. I think this could, if we get into a really strong speculative stage, this thing's going to just scream higher, in my opinion. And I'm all about that. All about it. All right, let's keep looking here. Let's keep looking. What else we got? If anybody has anything else they want to look at, throw it out there. Jobless claims lower, durable goods up month over month. There's a lot of good things that happen. Kyle Wright said, watched a video this AM on a programmer using an M4 Mac for LLMs. Apple chips might end up giving NVIDIA a run for its money. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Good to know. Let me know what else you find from that, Kyle. Robbie Kane says, hey, Jesse, I'm an hour behind, but wanted to say thanks again for everything you do. Voted for you on Twitter in that poll, too. Told so many people to follow you as the best teacher for the markets. Thank you. I never would have thought years ago that anybody would say that about me. But I'm going to try to be. CleanSpark bought some of their product. CleanSpark bought some of their product. What do you mean by that, Jason? You mean you bought some CleanSpark? Or what do you mean? Yeah, I need to get better at that. The watch list. How can I share that? Can I share a watch list? Let me just get back into here. I don't really know how this works. It's a good question. Yeah, I can. Here we go. Or maybe. Copy link. That's the other thing I got to do. I got to build out the watch list. It's on the list, man. I got so many things I got to do. Can Miner bought by CleanSpark. They bought Canaan? What? I hated Canaan because it was a Chinese company, but that's fucking brilliant. What? Are you shitting me right now? Are you shitting me? Does anybody have that news? If you have that news, link it. Link that news if you have it, guys. How do you spell Canaan again? Do we know that's true? I don't see this anywhere. Do you guys, is this actual news, guys? I don't see it anywhere. If you have actual news about CleanSpark buying Canaan, can you post it? Otherwise, please only bring up things where you trust the source. You can post via X. You can't do it via YouTube, guys. So if you post in the stream and just pull up the stream in X, it's right at the top. You can't miss it. If you guys could throw some comments in that stream too, that'd be amazing. But not news. They bought miners. Oh, well, that's not quite the same. Okay. Canaan awarded new customers CleanSpark. Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't give a shit. I don't like Canaan at all. Canaan is a Chinese stock. We don't buy Chinese stocks in this group. You guys got me sided, though. Jake says Baba's starting to move. Don't buy that trash, but Bitcoin is not an asset you trade. You don't trade something that will most likely go up 100x in the next 10 to 15 years. Yeah, you totally can. I do. I make even more off of it. So there. So seasonality. Oh, this is good from Bach. I'm going to put this up here. How recent is this? 18 hours ago. Bitcoin seasonality shows that we keep going up from here. And yeah. So I'm going to repost that. Almost 95,000 on Bitcoin. Who's grabbing some grabs? Not me yet. I just don't know enough about the market. If I traveled more overseas and I knew the company really well, it would be different. November Chicago PMI. Oh, we got the Chicago PMI. Oh, let's see. Oh, we did get more data. It's right at 9. It must have came out. All right, let's see. So we got personal spending. We got a lot of stuff coming out right now, guys. We're going to wait here for a second and see what happens. Chicago PMI did come out, though, at 8:45, and I missed it. So let's just look here. So Chicago PMI says 40.2. We expected 44 and 44. Let's see how the CME Fed Watch tool is doing with that, guys. Thoughts on XRP? It's the banker's coin. I don't like it. It also underperforms. I think it's a dead coin. Some people will get into it. That's okay. Everybody should do their own thing, but I don't, there's no love for me. All right, we're still waiting 4 seconds here. 4 seconds. We should be getting personal income, all kinds of PCE data, pending home sales. United States pending home sales up 2%. We were expecting negative 0.41, negative 2. So that's good. Pending home sales looking good month over month. Waiting on the rest. Waiting on the rest. New Zealand got some stuff. Don't care about New Zealand? Sorry if you're in New Zealand. I think it's a beautiful place. I love Lord of the Rings. That was in New Zealand, right? Benjamin Grass. Hey, Jesse, when will you load TLT and TMF? I'm not looking to do it yet. That's actually probably a really good ticker for us to look at, though. I'm not looking to do it yet. I am looking to do it when I think Bitcoin is long in the tooth, or I'm out of miners, and I think Tesla's done really well, and some of these other investments have done well, and the markets are getting a little sketchy. I will be loading up on greater amounts. United States personal income month over month reported at 0.6%. Consensus was 0.3, previously at 0.3. So that's good. So personal income going up. Personal spending month over month, 0.4%. Consensus was 0.3, previously at 0.6. That looks good. United States core price, PCE price index month over month reported at 0.3%. Oh, I just lost my screen. And that's within line. So in line. Better than expected on income. Better than expected or in line if you look at forecasts for spending. PCE price index, again, personal consumption expenditures, 0.2% in line. PCE price index year over year, 2.3% in line with consensus, slightly higher than forecast. All looks good. Pending home sales, again, look great. Core PCE price index, 2.8. All this looks beautiful. This looks like fuel to go higher to me. I do want to take a look and see what Rick has to say about this. Let me go here, and then we're going to back up the truck a little bit and try and see what these guys are all saying.
Squawk on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla and David Faber live, as always, from Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Ahead of a big data release,
Nice.
The Fed's
Nice,
preferred inflation number, PCE, will cross in just a moment due to tomorrow's Thanksgiving holiday. A reminder, markets are closed
SoFi, we can look at that.
tomorrow for the holiday. We've got full team coverage for you. Rick Santelli in Chicago will have the numbers as they cross. Steve Leisman and Jefferies chief market strategist David Zervos will join us with their reaction and with some context. First, though, let's check on the markets as we await that inflation number to cross. We've got a mixed picture. S&P down a tenth of 1%.
Might be bleeding.
You do
If
have
it's
strength
bleeding,
in
let
real
me know,
estate,
guys.
financials, and healthcare. Weakness in technology. Excuse me. And that's after some earnings releases. 10% move lower in HP, more than that for Dell. That inflation data just crossing. Let's go to Rick Santelli in Chicago. Hi, Rick.
There we go. Finally getting to it.
Yes, well, first, let's go through the three income and spending numbers. This is a 7-parter for October. On the income side, double expectations. Instead of up 0.3, we're getting up 0.6. Up 0.6 equals where we were in March. To find a higher one, you have to go to very beginning of the year in January, up 1.4. So this is a solid number. If we look at spending, also as expected but solid, up 0.4%. That follows up 0.5%. These numbers have been strong. Now, if we adjust for inflation and look at the real spending, it's up 0.1, and that follows up 0.4. Up 0.4 was the second best of the year. Now, the inflation numbers, we have 4 of them. The first one, of course, is the price index month over month, and we're expecting up 0.2. It is up 0.2, but remember, for the last several months prior, we've had lower numbers. If you look at where we were in May, we were 0, then 0.1, 0.2, 1/10 in August. So you could see that's been a bit of an
MicroStrategy looking
uptick.
good.
Now let's take that same headline and go year over year.
We get above
up
this
2.3. It comes in at 2.3, but that's not necessarily good news. And the rearview mirror was 2.1. 2.1 was the best going back to February of 21. 2.3 equals August. To find a higher one,
Get
you go
Rick
to
an
July,
iPad.
when it was 2.5.
You wouldn't know how to use it.
Now, let's look at the core numbers, probably the most important 2 numbers we have. If we look at core month over month, it is coming in at 0.3.
Hey guys, real quickly, I'm gonna grab just something to snack on real quick, and I'm gonna go pee. Let me know how this is going, Sebastian. Thank you for signing up. Is that Sebastian Ski? Sebastian.s. I don't know. Either way, Thank you for signing up. But if you guys could watch this, let me know if anything good comes from it. I'm going to be gone just for a minute here, okay? And I'll be right back. We're going to look at a bunch of other charts. I'm loving the way MicroStrategy is looking today. I'm loving that Bitcoin's about to break 95. We just broke 70,000 for followers on X. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. But give me 5 minutes here, and I'll be right back, and we'll go over more, okay?
As expected, same as in the rearview mirror, but once again, if you look at where we've been, we were 0.1 in May, we were 0.2 in June, so you could see this is also a bit of an uptick. And finally, year-over-year core, this has really been on the sticky side, expecting 2.8. It comes in at 2.8, and just to put a face on it, we have not been below 2.63 all year, so these are a bit on the warm side. But as expected for the most part, yields kicking up just a smidge, about 426 and a 10. But remember, we're at 4.25 before all these numbers this morning, so really haven't seen a huge amount of movement. Now, we have pending home sales for October, but for that, we go to Diana Olick. Diana?
Pending home sales rose 2% in October month to month, according to the realtors. That's a beat. The street was looking for a slight drop. Sales were up 5.4% compared with October of last year, and this is the highest level on the index since March. This even though mortgage rates rose sharply in October, starting near 6% and ending near 7%. This count is based on signed contracts, so people out shopping during the month and inking contracts on a home. Sales rose in all regions of the country, even the South, where we saw back-to-back hurricanes. Sales of newly built homes, which are also based on signed contracts, actually fell sharply in the South in October. Now, this bump in existing homes recently is likely because there's just much more supply on the market. Active listings up 29% year over year, according to Realtor.com. And finally, my favorite stat, the lockbox indicator.
Real quick, somebody, JRH says, hey, where can I download a chart? You don't download the chart, but on the Discord, I do have my charts. And so you can look at like, I don't know what's popular right now, but there's some in-phase. Somebody was talking about in-phase. Energy sector, somebody posted on here. Oh, maybe I was talking about a chart. I don't know. Whatever, there's something in here. But there's some in-phase stuff in here. If you click on the pin part at the top, you'll see that you can actually see the chart. And so you can click on this and then pull it up. I think you can make a copy of my charts too. I'm not quite sure. You'd have to check. But like even if you go in here, SoFi again, people are talking about SoFi yesterday at 7 o'clock. They were talking about it. And if you go up here, you can see my chart that's associated with it. So you can get all that stuff on the Discord, and I think you can copy them too. So that's kind of like the way of downloading it like you're talking about. We haven't quite hit 95 yet, but still looking good. Again, all the data was really great so far, guys. Let's listen to what the rest of they have to say here. Did I miss anything in that last minute?
This is a count of how many of those door key lock boxes are open to show a home. The realtors say those openings were up 7% year over year in October, which suggests much more demand moving ahead into the winter months. Sarah?
Okay, thank you very much. Diana Olick, Rick Santelli with all that data. I mean, guys, the big headline here is that it's in line, so it doesn't really give us any major clues about what the Fed is going to do. The overall inflation rate, 2.3%, it was as expected. It's close to 2%, but it's not at 2%. And as Rick said, core is at 2.8%, so it's a little closer to 3% than 2%. But again, that was pretty much as expected. And it shows that it's not a straight line down, because as Rick said, a 0.3% monthly gain in core PCE is not as good as 0.2 and 0.1, which is what we were getting a few months ago. So the Fed—
Oh, shut the fuck up. Sorry. Let's go back here. So again, personal consumption expenditure, PCE. These numbers look great. Let's go back and see if they have a latest update here under this one. There we go. Year over year, personal consumption, SAR. Okay, so we got a bunch of different ways to look at this. But these are great numbers, guys. These are great numbers. They're literally close to where we were before with inflation-related data and an economy that looks strong. These are not bad things where they should be talking it down. They just shouldn't be.
Fed wants to see that move down, but—
Oh, somebody said, Lance said, anyone know if TradingView is tied to one device, or can you use on multiple? You can use on multiple, but if you do that, you get that disconnected message people have seen on my screen a few times, which kind of sucks. So you can use on multiple, but you do have to worry about a disconnected message if you jump between devices.
Fed Chair Powell has said numerous times that it is going to be a bumpy path down to 2%. So are they still going to feel comfortable cutting? Probably. I mean, right just before that number, the market was at 66% chance that they'd cut in December. We're no change, it looks like, after the numbers. So not a real swing factor. I would also just note that the economy is doing well. Spending 0.4%. That was expected, but it still shows signs of healthy spending, and incomes were the surprise, coming in double what was expected by economists. So wages higher, incomes higher, bodes well ultimately for the consumer. If you're looking for any signs of big changes or turns in the economy, you're just not seeing that from this data and from what we're getting right now.
Yeah, I see personal saving 4.4. Is that a big change? I'm trying to think if that's a directionally.
So V Eagle says good numbers out. I think the Fed will pause interest rate cuts next meeting. I don't think they'll pause next meeting, but I do think that we're probably on the same page, you and me. I think that the next interest rate cut, there will be a pause after that. They probably won't, I don't think, signal that. Maybe they will. Maybe he'll signal it in some way. But I do think we get another 25 bips, and then would come January. Let's see. So the 25 bips is for what would the rate cut be, or what would the rate be at then? 425 to the 450 range. So come January, the odds of us staying in that range are almost 60%. So I don't think we'll raise. I don't think we'll cut. I do think January will be a pause after we do a 25 bip in December. So I think you and I are probably on the same page. I just wanted to clarify the thought behind it. Hey, Jesse, can you take a look at the Tesla chart and see how low we could potentially go, please? I can do that in a second. Let's real quickly. There's been a lot of things that we've been talking about. I do want to pull up real quickly here. I just want to look here first off and see how we're sitting for the day. MSTX is in the win. IREN's up. MSTU is behind it. Bit Digital coming in third. Yep. So, okay, it makes sense. People getting excited about that ETH play. BITX is in next. Mara 7.44. Congratulations to all Mara holders. I got six figures in that buckaroo too. Buckaroo. What am I trying to say? And I'm happy about it. Riot doing good. Arbitrum doing good. Matic doing good. ETH doing good. Lots of stuff. Cypher up almost 6%. CleanSpark up almost 6%. What a day, guys. What a day. I could totally see a Friday like this too, where we just have a crazy rally on Friday. We'll see. Could be wrong, but we're getting excited about the potential. Very much getting excited. BITF. Why am I so bullish? I don't know if I'm that bullish. Am I that bullish? I don't think I'm that bullish, but I do think that it's a really small market cap, which I love because as we talk about on here all the time, and let me just do this. I'll pull up Mara first, and then we'll get to SoFi too. I promise. I haven't forgotten about you. Here's what I like about Mara. I like the fact that it's bouncing off the fib. I like the fact that our next zone here is really 34, 33, where we hit this previous high, and then it's up here. So I'm just going to get rid of this one completely. I'm going to save this chart so it's updated in the Discord. But what we're looking at right now, guys, is a run to 46 on Mara, and I don't think it'll take long. So that's going to be interesting. Just the fact that we can get to, I think, 47, 46 pretty quickly. CLSK is sucking because it's only up 6%, about the same as Mara. Okay. People are so impatient. If you don't like CLSK, you should have bought MicroStrategy, like I did. Otherwise, deal with it. It's going to do really great. It's just going to take a little bit longer. All right. So anyway, let me show you BITF. Oh, I didn't want that. I don't want the watch list. Got to be in the right place. So you got pretty much all the data I care about. So we're done with the economic data part. Bitfarms. So here's what I love about Bitfarms. I love the fact that it's not $1 billion. I love the fact that it's finding support, or at least it was on the shorter time frame. It's finding support on volumes. It needs to get back up here to 225 and really turn that into a base. And what I'd love to see, since we're struggling at doing it, and here I'm actually going to raise this. I'm going to put it to the wicks. Yeah, that's the better bar now. So we're going to raise it up a little bit. So what I really want to see on this one, Houdini, thank you for joining, is that we get up to the right about here, 250, 260 range, get above this fib, the .5, get above this downward trending line of resistance. And let me see, I'm going to unlock this real quick because I want to get this as accurate as I can since it's been a while. So the wick is probably like right about there. And then, yeah, right about there. So what I'd like to see is this break above here again, get above the 260 range, and then turn it into support. When that happens, it's game over. Then we'll go to 390 real quick. Then we'll go to, 726 and not too long. That's a 260% move, roughly, from where we are. A little bit less than that because I got to move this. And I think this stuff is going to happen in pretty quick order. I do need to move these. I need to adjust these to be more representative of the time frames. So like over here, probably over here. Let me see, what do we have here? I'm lowering my goals. So yeah, there's no way. So even a 700% gain in this, if it could make it to the 1 fib at 1640 would be pretty sweet. And I do think that's possible. I think we end up dying somewhere over here. Maybe even higher. Again, that other goal was even higher than that. It could go up more than 700%. But I do think 700 is a good number. And if it goes up 700, this thing's still probably a $6.5 billion company, really tiny in comparison to what this other stuff is going to be at later. So just got to move some of this stuff around. I really need to make... Let me save this real quick. And some of these lines will probably even need to move over more. Let's say that we peak in miners in July. That's probably legit. And maybe move this over to here. And then move the fib over. I need to move my fib. Why is this way down here? Oh, this isn't even... oh, no, this is right. This is off of... Where is this? 2022. Okay, so this is off the bottom. I just need to move it over to where we're still in line. All right, there we go. That's probably pretty good. So, again, we just want to get above the red line. We want to get above this .5 fib. We want to start turning this into support so that we can go higher. And then, yeah, I like Bitfarms because it's small. That's literally why. I wouldn't own options on it because it's a buyout candidate. Can we take a look at BT? Yeah, I don't know if I have that one because I wasn't really tracking it. And I don't even know if I like it. Oh, I do. Okay. And we could look at Sebastian Ski's work and take a quick glance at it to kind of see what it's doing. But it's up 11%. Again, this is even tinier. Bit Digital is 640 million. So if it goes all the way up here to the .618 fib to 470, it's still going to be under $1 billion. So if it gets to 5, it's still going to be under $1 billion. BT short positions. I don't know what you mean. Like what its percentage of short is. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, we can quickly look at that, right? Oh, or can we? Where is my visual stocks? Whatever. We can look at that later. It's probably got a high degree of short interest. Oh, here we go. It's probably got a high degree of short interest. I don't even know that it's a good company. I don't even think they hold Bitcoin. I hate that about them, if true. Let's see here. Bitcoin production is plummeting for this company, so they suck. In that regard. But I do think they have a strong ETH holding. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. It says 16.82% short interest as of the last read from Visual Stocks. That could be a little bit delayed. Ooh, we got a guy talking on CNBC that I love. He's always fascinating to listen to.
Distinction.
I don't know if he's always right, but I love listening to his points. So we're going to go back. This is somebody, David. Yeah, here we go. One sec. Yeah, I want to listen to everything he has to say. Yeah, let's listen to all this. We'll listen to, what's his name? God, not Rick Santelli. Centaurum? I don't know. One of these people.
Towards softness in the labor market has moderated a little bit. Is it
we
time
will
for
look
pause?
at more tickers, too. And I still got to get to SoFi.
Yeah, that was in there. Look, if you take, Sarah, and I'm on the edge here. If you take the idea of recalibration seriously, and the way I interpreted it, not everybody else did, is it's a change in the rate that is somewhat apart from the data in the sense that you bring it down to a level and you say, okay, at that level is where I'm going to adjust and calibrate to the actual data. But if I'm recalibrating, it's because I was too high and I need to bring it down. I think Goolsbee might agree with me. It sounded like Kashkari might also be in that same camp, to the sense that, yeah, you can do another quarter in December, and then maybe your recalibration, having taken, what would it be, 100 off the top,
I agree.
now your recalibration is done.
The question is, like, how do they know how restrictive they are being? It's really hard to tell right now.
It is definitely hard to tell, and that was a point that was made in the minutes yesterday, and a reason to go gradually. But I think if you take a step back, Sarah, and you say, okay, what was the real or neutral rate before the pandemic, and why would it have changed so much now that it would be, I don't know, in the 4% range? I think if you stopped at 4 or 4.25 and you said, okay, let's wait here to see how it works. Remember, Sarah, I would suggest some of the positive economic data we have right now could be the result of the Fed pivoting a year ago and bringing rates down. So that's an issue that's out there. The market has priced in.
Yeah, that's true. And that's perfect, because that's what's helped the economy survive now. Okay. And so we needed that. But now we have a pro-growth, low taxation president who is going to use tariffs to strengthen the manufacturing sector of the United States government. We have a Bitcoin strategic reserve that's probably going to be implemented very quickly across states and the federal government. We have AI, we have robotics, we have autonomy that are getting ready to just fly, along with genomics and a bunch of other stuff. We have so many positive multipliers behind us right now.
Rate cuts.
You got merch, M2M? I do. If you go, at least on the mobile app, you can see it on YouTube.
Fed probably needs to deliver them, not just for Wall Street, but for Main Street, where rates are still very high.
Steve, thanks. A lot to digest this morning. We'll come back to you, Steve Leisman.
All right, here we go.
Let's get the street's take as well
Steve,
on the latest
how did I
inflation
forget
print,
Steve
and bring in
Leisman's
Jefferies'
name?
chief market strategist, David Zervos, who joins us here at Post 9. I saw you reacting to Steve off camera. Your thoughts?
Well, first, just let me apologize for sounding like RFK Jr. a little bit. I'm running, my voice is just running out of steam after the post-election period. It's a lot of calls with a lot of clients and a lot of running around. So I wanted that caveat up front.
Okay.
I don't think the data matter that much for the Fed. This was a pretty down-the-middle data print. It's an important one, but I don't think there was any surprise that would get them to move either way. I think the markets so far have told you that. We just have a lot of really big picture stuff to talk about. Like, I know it's fun to talk about the day-to-day and what's moving the market, but I'm just getting so excited for the deregulation trade, the smaller government trade, the fact that the bond market, the yields are lower than they were on November 5th in the 10-year by 5 or 6 basis
Right,
points.
Trump trade was supposed to be a big steepener,
Big
right?
steepener. And, you know, stocks are up, dollar's stronger. It's all kind of working the way many thought. I mean, not the 17 Nobel laureates that thought global Armageddon would happen if Trump won, but I really am focused on this long end of the Treasury. I think that's the most interesting story of the last 3 to 4 weeks, and it's telling us something. It's telling us people are getting excited about the deregulation trade and the lower costs of production that are coming, and possibly the less significant government sector that's, I think, starting a lot of conversations with our clients about, could we see some slowing in the beginning of this administration as contract payments are ceased, consultants are cut, some job losses in the government sector start to come in, and that totally changes the Jan to March to June Fed sequence if we start to see very different job data, but coming more from the public sector than the private sector.
Does that mean that GDP forecasts have more downside bias?
So there's this initial trade, and then there's the long-term trade. Are you opening up the economy to better use those resources more efficiently in the private sector? I think that's the idea.
Well, Musk called it temporary hardship.
And I think the market's starting to sense that a little bit. We'll see. The short-term data is going to be really interesting to watch. Jan 20th, we're going to see a lot of changes really fast. We know there's close to 300 executive orders that the AFPI have put together to put in front of President Trump on his desk. A lot of them to do with deregulation, many with immigration and other things. But I think a lot of industries' shackles are going to come off. But a lot of changes in Washington are going to happen with Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, Department of Energy. These are big changes in the way we've done business as a government for decades. This is a Reagan sort of moment.
But one thing you did not mention that you were excited about is tariffs. And that's something that we're already getting a pretty good whiff of.
You know,
Ooh,
I think it's always something I've pushed back to the side along with immigration, because I just don't think the stagflationary outcomes that people are pointing to, the magnitudes are big enough. We'll see. We saw tariffs last time. We saw 17, 18, 19. He did it. What happened to inflation? Not much.
They weren't as widespread, though.
Well, we
they were
don't
more
know
targeted.
yet.
Steel and aluminum,
We
China.
don't know yet. We don't know whether it's tactical or not.
It will be
Let's see
tactical.
if his
It will be.
tactics work to get prisoner releases,
But that's
get
fair.
open markets for our products, get fair trade, get geopolitical tensions down. We'll see. That's the history of Trump tactics, is you go in big. And I think Wall Street's giving him the benefit of the doubt on the art of the deal style, and they're not going, oh, yes, you're definitely going to do this number.
The market closed at the high yesterday.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the way we're lining up.
David's a good dude.
You talk about the difference between deregulation and deregulatory capture, and you make a distinction in the selection of Scott Bessent versus, for example, a Bob Rubin, somebody who came from the banking side.
Yes.
What are you trying to get at there, David?
Look, when we go through a deregulation period, industries can capture that deregulation just like they use regulation to capture an industry, a la what George Stigler, the Nobel Prize winner, used to write about out of the University of Chicago. If you think about what happened with Graham Leach Bliley, with the end of Glass-Steagall, with that 1990s deregulation, that set up the ability through deregulation to have a regulatory backdrop that still forced a bailout in 08. And it allowed banks to do things, commercial banks to do things that were really unsavory and ultimately blew us up. And so as you're rewriting the regulatory structure, either through deregulation or more regulation, having the insiders, having the industry write that is always a dangerous game. And what I'm happy to see in many of these positions as we go into a deregulatory environment is not executives from the biggest parts of the industry that have already captured a lot being part of that deregulatory unwind. And that made me very happy when I saw Scott's name there. By the way, I think Mark Rowan, is an outsider as well, coming from Apollo. These are not the insiders of the commercial banking industry. So I'm getting very positive on the deregulation trade from a short-term perspective and also from a stability in a long-term perspective. Because where you worry about, David, is, we can take all these regulations away, but hey, we did that with the savings and loans in 1982, and then kaboom, and then we did it with Glass-Steagall, boom. I mean, it's fun for 3 or 4 years, but the end of that party is not pretty. No, it's a hangover.
We still remember a couple springs ago where it was all about the FDIC and.
So I totally agree with him, actually, but I do want to add a caveat that he's not thinking about. It's like, oh yeah, you can remove a bunch of regulation, but then things aren't super great. Then you have things that blow up. All true. But what we're not looking at right now, or what he's not seeing and thinking about, is what does 3 to 4 years look like? What does even 2 years look like when we have humanoid robots walking around in the street helping people with activities that cost 25 to 20 grand, or let's even say 40 initially. It's going to transform the world, and my car literally drives me around all the time, guys. It can do everything. And we're looking at a world where we're seeing Bitcoin getting embraced in Western countries. We're seeing all these wonderful multipliers behind us, and we're seeing deregulation. So I just don't think the big blow up is sitting in front of us. At least I can't see it right now. I will be keeping an eye on it and waiting for something to occur. Definitely risks with China still. That's probably my biggest concern. Is war with China right now, because I think Xi Jinping will become desperate in the not too distant future. But outside of that, though, I think we have a melt-up type scenario. Sebastian S. says, guys, how can I be down 12% on 3LMI shares today when MicroStrategy is up 8. It has to do with tracking errors probably. That sucks. That sounds like bullshit. But it's a 3x multiplier, and there's risk that comes with it. Honestly, at looking at the way these things are tracking, I definitely would not be in a 3x. If that thing bounces and you get your money back, I would get the fuck out. The 2x's are one thing. 3x is super degen, and it's dangerous, especially with the way these things track. Again, these aren't meant to be held for long periods of time. I'll be holding MSTU and MSTX because I think we're going to get a big pop. If I end up being wrong about that, it's going to suck. Just be prepared for what can come on these, okay? These are leveraged devices that 2x to the downside for long periods of time will waste your portfolio, okay? So just be cautious. Be cautious. All right, real quickly, there's a couple things I wanted to do. And Gnome, thank you for signing up. I appreciate you being a member. Real quickly, we can look at Tesla. We can look at SoFi. I'm going to get SoFi first because that was ahead of that was requested much earlier. Then we can look at Tesla too, and we can look at a bunch more. So throw them out if you got them. SoFi looks like, I mean, a beast. It's just retarded how much this thing has went up. How much has this went up? It went up from August 5th to here, up 170%. Not exactly Palantir type moves, but pretty good. I do think we can go higher, but you guys got to realize we're hitting resistance now over here. Even though there's not a lot of volume in this range, we're hitting it. We need to try and establish support above here, and then it's a run to $21 if we're able to. I do think the banking sector, I've said this for a while, rates coming down is positive for the banking sector, especially if we don't have any major economic concerns that constrict lending. I still think these guys, I haven't said this, I don't think, but I do think that they can get up to 20 or 2022 or 20 to 22. And so I think they can still do well. Could they retrace over the short term? Everything can. Everything can. We've been doing really good. Let's pull up Tesla. Tesla down 3%. Wow, you weren't kidding. It is dropping. So it is dropping. I'm glad I honestly, it seems like that even though it was a big leap, selling, a couple 100,000 in Tesla, actually maybe 200,000-300,000. I don't even know what I ended up selling. It was a decent chunk. Selling that and getting into MSTU and MSTX appears to be the right decision so far. So I'm happy about that. How far could it drop? I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see if we can determine. We do have a large gap still over here, but I mean, I don't think that's happening. I just don't think that's happening at all. I think this is just a temporary reprieve in Tesla before going higher. Yeah, I don't think it'll be very far at all. It looks like we just closed. It looks like we're closing a gap. Honestly, it looks like we could drop to maybe 325. That would close this little baby gap here. We still have a huge one way down here, but again, this is the kind of gap that does not have to close. Way down here, we got a huge gap. Huge. Let me zoom in here. Make sure I'm documenting it well. Yeah, so that's a pretty big gap right there, right? So we could still feel that. And then that's not even the only one. We had other massive gaps. Because, again, we gapped. Like, people got super excited. But you got to remember this, guys. On average, 10% of gaps don't fill. And if the gaps aren't going to fill, you know what side it's on? It's the downside stuff. It's the stuff down here. Now, we do have 3 pretty large gaps in here. So could we get some weirdness where we backtest? Sure. It's possible. I mean, if you look over here, we've went straight up. We did a little baby backtest, kind of, over here, and didn't even get to this trend line. I don't think we have to, though. There's so much good stuff coming for Tesla. The macro is so good. I think we're still bouncing. We're almost at 95,000 on Bitcoin now, guys. Almost at 95,000 on Bitcoin. What else did you guys have for requests? AMD, sure. Oh, TMF was TLT and TMF was another one. We need to go back to that. 1 second here. So TLT, again, it kind of broke down and then it started to break higher. So it started to roll over out of this ascending triangle and then it broke down. Now it's trying to get above it. It's just kind of hanging out. I don't know. I think we could trade in this range still for a while, months, maybe even quarters. I hope so. I would love to trade like around this 93 level, and then I would love to buy just because, again, there's so much upside in this, and it would be a great way to kind of hold it as cash, but then have the potential to run, 30% or more. To get back to the all-time high on this thing, guys, on TLT, it is 100% move to the upside on a bond that pays a dividend, right? Or that gives you a yield. So pretty crazy stuff. Look at this. I mean, this thing was down to levels from when it was introduced after the dot-com bubble. So this 20-year bond was brutalized. But we like it. We like it, and I will buy more of it in the future. It looks like Square's making a move. Somebody was asking about that. I'm going to pull it up real quick. We can look at Palantir. We'll just look at a bunch of the ones I normally follow. It looks like this one's still ready for a breakout. It's retraced a little bit, but again, this looks like a very huge inverse head and shoulders. The measured move I have is up to $200, I believe. Is that right? Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's draw it to here. Let's bring it up over here. Yeah, right around there. So the measured move is something like this, up to this range around the $200. I still think that's in play with pretty high level of conviction, I think. Fundamentals do matter, but I do think that that is something that can do well. Let's look at PayPal real quick. Oh, somebody said, Cam Prog said, the only thing about 3LMI and MST3 is only open 2.5 hours during U.S. market open, and then it opens 1 hour before pre-market does in the U.S., so you can have some disadvantage. Ooh, that does suck. I didn't even think about that since those are foreign-based. You're getting a very limited regular window in the United States to be able to trade those. That's the difference in the price because of the fact that they close. Yeah, okay, so that can kind of suck. So you got to constantly reevaluate that if you're not in the U.S. market. Yeah, that sucks. I don't love that at all. That's a really good point. All right, so PayPal down 0.7% on the day. Whatever. This just looks like a little consolidation. Might backtest even down to 83 before trying to go higher. Not too worried about it. Again, I love this red in here, like the institutional side of things is really dialing into PayPal. It is up 51% in a very short period of time. We did really well off that. We made back a bunch of losses. And then we used some of that money to be able to purchase other things. So PayPal's been an all right one, I think. Robinhood, how are we sitting on Robinhood today? Are they still doing good? Up 4%, still retracing off the high recently, but sitting really good. Again, I exited out of this one. I've made, I think, 1,800% in the last 2 years off of Robinhood round trip, so nobody should bitch at me about me being mostly out of Robinhood. I think I'm 95 to 99% out. I'll rebalance again. I'll update my portfolio. I'll try to do it again tomorrow. I'm trying to do it more frequently, at least, multiple times a week, especially after big moves, and I've done some big ones. So I'll try and rebalance that again by tomorrow morning. But Robinhood could still make its way up to the 44 range. I know it's got some price target raises. It could do all right. It could do all right. Or it could backtest over here to the fib at 35. We'll see which one it decides to take. Real quickly, I do want to just look at the watch list again and see how things are doing to get an overall beat on the market. So 27% on IREN, still just outperforming like crazy. MSTU still running slow, not keeping up with its 2x multiplier. It's kind of a bummer. MSTX, though, outperforming its 2x multiplier. So again, this is why I went 50-50, because one of them outperforms, the other one doesn't. That can change and rotate between the two. Bid Digital still sitting at 11%. Mara at almost 9%. Wow, nice. This is what happens. Matthew Schultz, Clean Spark. This is what happens if you implement a Bitcoin standard strategy where you're taking convertible bonds in a market that's begging for them, and you're getting involved. Bitcoin 95.4. 95.4, looking good. Hasn't quite hit that resistance level, guys. Let me just bring it up here to the main screen, if I can. There we go. If I figure out what I'm doing. All right, so we haven't quite hit this resistance level, but we're going to be hitting 96. If you guys wanted to exit out of MSTX, MSTU, because you don't like the volatility, this is your opportunity right here, okay? This is your opportunity to GTFO, because we'll hit this resistance level, and then we'll decide what we're doing next. And if all works out, we'll break above this and start turning it into support and get up into this 97, 98 range maybe by Friday. If we do that, if we get up here, we've invalidated any potential really of a head and shoulder. This is ugly looking anyways for a head and shoulder, and it's a really tight looking bounce. But again, if you're going to get out, this is where resistance is going to hit, 96. So that would be the time to GTFO, okay? If you want to GTFO there. That's the way to do it. All right, I looked at, Jesse, can you take a look at Tesla chart, please, especially after this dip today? I did that. Eli Waves said, could you take a look at Square whenever we get back to the charts by chance? Yes, I did. Charlie, my optimist, will be picking up dog poop and cooking steak, maybe one for, dude, it's going to clean my house. It's going to do my laundry. It's going to mow the lawn. It's going to be cleaning up after my dog and letting it outside. And I've got a geriatric Jack Russell Terrier that I literally have to pick up to bring her up the fucking stairs. If she's alive, she's probably going to be dead, but whatever. If it was applicable, I would have my robot carrying her around, and so I don't have to do it because I love her, but I definitely don't want to be cleaning up after my dog all day. Yeah, lots of good stuff. If you ain't leaving, I'm not leaving. Okay, just remember the whiskey. I love that. It definitely suits your name. But remember that I'm not responsible if we lose a bunch of money. You are for making that decision. Pawpaw Mark said, yeah, those 2 to 3x ETFs that get slaughtered will also reverse split with minimal notice. Yes, that can happen too. Proven B looks like several large caps down. Yeah, these 2 to 3x plays, especially 3x guys, can be more dangerous. Jose Lopez, dude, don't worry about any wars with China besides trade war. China's economy depends on exports. That it's a really good point. But Xi also, the problem with dictators is the dictator fallacy, right? They live in a bubble of isolation where they think that they are gods, and the people around them who don't tell them they're gods get murdered. So you just have to realize that his view of how well he can do isn't necessarily clear, which worries me. And also, sometimes wars are created, if you look out throughout history, by countries that have economies that are falling apart. And China is drastically militarizing and creating nuclear weapons at a very, very rapid pace. So you just have to realize they're preparing to go to war. Should they go to war? No. Should they be worried about the fact that 2/3 of their exports go to Western or Western-friendly nations? I would think so. I would think you would worry about that, especially when you're dependent upon food and you're dependent upon other resources to survive. But we also know that Chairman Mao has no problem letting Chinese people starve, and Xi Jinping seemed to idolize him. So there's concerns there. There's major concerns with all of that. I have a lot of concerns about China. It is my biggest worry. And with reason, history tells me to worry about it. So I probably won't be getting rid of that soon. Getting closer to that 96,000 mark, guys. Loving that. Oh, Mr. Monkey, Jose, that's what they said about Russia. Exactly. Exactly. And Russia thought they were going to have a 3-day war. Again, dictator fallacy, right? Vladimir Putin's like, oh, we got this bitch, dude. We'll take Ukraine. Get rid of these guys. I'll be running this bitch. We're going to have all these resources. It's going to be lit. Then we'll tell our buddy Xi to go ahead and invade Taiwan. It's going to be great. Death to America, blah, blah, blah. Like, we got this. Look at Biden. Look at how bad he did in Afghanistan. We got this, dude. This is easy. America is weak. And it didn't turn out to be that way. But 3 years later, almost, and we've still got this war going on. And it didn't work out for Russia. It didn't work out for Ukraine. It hasn't worked out for anybody. War never does. Which is why we need to prevent wars through massive amounts of strength. We need China to know that Xi Jinping needs to know he's a little bitch, and we can take him out in a heartbeat. And once he knows that, we won't have to worry about it anymore. It's power through strength that's important. getting near that level, guys. It's the get the fuck out of MSTX, MSTU level right now, right here. If you want to do it, it's time. All right, let's see. Eli Waves or Eli Waves. I was in MSTU, MSTX for a ton of the last run. Was awesome. Sold a lot and scaled back in like Jesse did. But after seeing how it compounds the downs, been flipping a lot of it to MSTR leaps. Too many weird factors at play with the two. Yeah, and that might be true. I might have to switch to options too. I don't like the way the vehicles adjust. They're definitely sketch. And if we look over here, we can see some of that, right? Like we can see MSTX is up 23% today. That's wonderful, right? Like MicroStrategy is only up 10, so that's good. We're outperforming. But MSTU is only up 15.85, so it's doing a 1.5, 1.6. And then you have these constant rebalances. There's just a lot of weirdness, and they don't appear to be great vehicles at tracking the 2X. And some aren't. Sometimes it works out this way with different funds. So I'm gonna ride this bitch up, but I don't know if I'll enter these vehicles again. And I think your comments are really prescient. Is that the right word? I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. Young investor, we made it, boss. We're slicing through 95. Cool. Yeah, we did. Iron is insane. Yeah, it is. 27%. Can I do NVIDIA? I already did. My maiden name is Zervos. Wow, Joanne, that is a wild maiden name. I love it. It's different from Johnson. Johnson's about as vanilla as you get. The thing with the 3 LMI and the MS3. Oh, yeah. Okay, we talked about that. I'm slowly getting caught up with comments here, guys. Hey, Jesse, I'm sure you talked about it, but why I haven't been able to check in the streams the last few days. What are your thoughts on CLSK price action lately? I think it's good. I mean, I think it's going to be good. It's just delayed. The monitors are delayed, guys. Just is what it is. I hope that Matthew Schultz thinks about those convertible bond offerings, because I think stacking your Bitcoin is really smart. Joanne, thank you for the $10. Can you take a look at Rumble? I feel like it may be a good long-term opportunity. They're investing $20 million in BTC. I don't know if it's a good long-term possibility, but I do know that they invested in Bitcoin. It's a good way to pop your stock. I'm going to look at Rumble real quickly here from a financial standpoint before we go into other stuff, right? So from a financial standpoint, I do like this. So revenue's going up. I don't know. I don't think Rumble does well in a world where you have X, which is my biggest worry. Their cash is bleeding down. Their net income was negative 31.5 million, and they went up 25 million for that quarter. So they bled a lot more than they had. They did some weirdness where their free cash flow looked all right, but I don't love this from like a company standpoint. The revenues appear to be flattening out. They're still negative on EPS. Their short interest is growing. It's not a crazy number. It's 6.25. The Bitcoin, somebody sold a lot of this in Q3 of 2022. Q3 of 2022, what was the stock at? Let's go back 5 years here. Q3. So in Q3 of 2022, over here near the top around the 14s, they just sold a shit ton of stock, 14, 15 range. So they did really good getting out of it. And there's a decent amount of retail. There's a lot of retail in here. Here's my worry. You have a bunch of Trumpers like you have for Truth Social. And I don't know that either one of these companies are great. I don't know that either one of them are going to do good. And now X just turned out to be the freest platform on the planet. So I feel like you could have downside risk, Joanne, in this stock, even though they're buying Bitcoin, because of the fact that fundamentally they're competing with X, and X is the best platform to be on. That's my concern for anybody that's invested in that. Rapid fire these charts, says Matthew Smith. Yes, sir. This is Sparta filling the recent gap. William H. Hey, Jesse, what's your opinion on Iron saying they would be open to paying shareholders dividends in Bitcoin? I didn't even know that. I didn't watch the earnings, but that's great. Maybe that's why they're doing so well today. We'll have to look at comments. I'll repost things about Iron that I find interesting, and if I get caught up with the earnings report, I'll go over that too. But I think that sounds amazing. Let's look here. Let me go back to, I don't have Bitcoin on the primary chart. I'm going to pull that up down in the bottom right, guys. So Bitcoin's still looking good. Again, this is hitting resistance, though. If we're going to get a rejection, this is the place to reject. This is the place to reject, and if we can't get above this red line and we just grind up here for a while, I'll get a little more worried about a further drop. Might lighten the load a little bit if that happens. But I still think we're going up. I still got some high praise. Again, I went over the microstrategy stuff earlier, guys. So many good things right now. IREN are probably doing well because they're going 21 to 31 exahash by year end, and they're shooting for 50 for the first half of next year, which is also great. Did I miss MU? I didn't even look at MU. We can look at MU. I didn't pull it up. I don't have a lot of exposure to it right now, to be clear. Oh, somebody asked for Ethereum. I do want to do that real quick, and then we'll look at MU. I got two of these. Which one's the oldest? This one. Bye. All right. Elon is a national treasure for you guys. It's a patriotic duty to protect him. Any nation would die to have an Elon Musk. I agree. And people still shit on him. Yes. I got a funny thing about that I'll show in a minute. So Ethereum is looking great. I posted this earlier today, I want to say, or last night. I don't know. All the days blur together, guys. I feel like a fucking robot caught in the Matrix. I saw a movie called Mandela Effect last night, and I loved it. You guys should check it out. I saw it on Amazon Prime. It wasn't like a high budget, but it was really cool. Very fascinating stuff. I'm just going to clean up this chart real quick. So Ethereum is looking good. Ethereum's looking good. We're going to test up to 4,000. Could we break above 4,000? Gosh, it seems like it. Look, resistance, resistance, brief support, resistance, resistance, resistance. Fifth time of strong levels of resistance at this level, testing up against it again. If that happens, it's a test up to this 6,000s. It's a test first to where I have this alert. You guys see these little dotted lines? That's my alert levels. So the test first is to the previous all-time high, a hair underneath 50 or 5,000, and then the next level will be up at this fib around the 6,400 range, and then the next level is the golden retracement zone at 10,290. I would be surprised to see Ethereum get above that level. If we look here and we scroll back a ways, we can see how Ethereum broke down out of this trend line. It was support, 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 resistance, trying to be support, resistance, resistance. I think it'll still be resistance this cycle because I think we've had a flippening where people realize that Ethereum is not Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin. And so I think we could get up here and maybe we get even higher into the 15s, 16s. But I feel like Solana's going to steal a lot of that thunder. Could be wrong, but I do believe that. All right, and let's look at Solana real quick while we're here, just since we're talking about stuff, and then we'll look at Micron too. And we talked a little bit about chips yesterday. So Solana getting a nice little bounce. So it was suffering probably a little bit down to 220. Now it's already back up to 240. Looks like it really wants to test up to 285. Wouldn't be surprised at that at all. That will be, when we hit that range, I don't think... We might have hit the all-time high. Yeah, no, I think we did. We did. We hit the all-time high, just barely touched it and broke down. I do think we're going higher. I think this is one of the biggest cup and handles I've ever seen in my life. And the measured move for it is stupid. I should change this color, but let me just show you this real quick here. So, and that's not even it. This is fucking retarded. I don't know that this is going to happen, guys. This is such a huge market cap. I'm not even going to draw it down to the wick. I'm going to be like conservative here and just put this up here just to give you some idea of what, like this shouldn't be real. It probably can't be real. It really shouldn't be real. I put my max target at the 1,200, 1,300 range up here. In between 1,000 and this is what I'm looking at for a max target for Solana. But what this tells me for the measured move is that the target is in the 3,000 range, if I'm conservative about it. So I actually would have more faith in this happening and this would be crazy because this would be like, what is this even? 1,100, 1,200% from here, which is a stupid number. Doesn't have to happen. 500% would make me happy. But if it cannibalizes Ethereum, I think that could happen. Guys, we're getting near 96. What the actual fuck? This is looking really strong. We're hitting that resistance zone, but with a lot of strength. Can we hold this on the 4 hour? The 4 hour expires in 5 minutes, 50 seconds. This is good. This is good. If we can crank up a little bit more on the 4 hour, if the 4 hour gets anywhere above 96, guys, holy shit. Excuse my French. This could get real. This could get real, guys. This is, I've already been doing the stream for 3 hours, but if we break 96, I might stick around a little bit longer. That's crazy. So we get to talk about Bitcoin 100,000 over Turkey. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. The point, somebody like Sailor, why wouldn't you buy and pump this bitch back up heading into the holiday, letting people know that this thing just crashed and then pumped hard, and it's more bullish than every other Thanksgiving when you told people to buy. More bullish now. Yeah, we can look at Micron. Sorry, I will be tracking this, though. I'll be coming back to this, guys. This is beautiful. And today, Matthew, I will try and get those tickers, all the ones from the last 2 days that are new. I'll try and get those in the Discord channel under the mods section so we can get them added. I apologize. I was kind of depressed from yesterday after getting people, or I shouldn't say getting people, after buying heavily into MSTU and MSTX. I just needed a breather because my biggest concern, it's less about me losing money and more about just making sure I'm not wrecking people, man. I really don't want to wreck people. I know, because again, like even James regrets what happened with his work with Alex Mashinsky from Celsius, right? Like that still hangs over him, and I get it. You don't want to hurt people when you're investing. I'm not a financial advisor. I know I'm not responsible. Everybody's got big boy pants, but man, you don't want to hurt people when you get a big audience, if you have a heart. Micron, woof, that has been brutal. Not going to lie. That's been brutal for Micron. Down 4% today. We were talking about this yesterday with the chip sector too. There's this weird pull between weakness and strength, and I'm not sure which way it's going to head. But this is down a lot. What is it down right now? The question is, what do the fundamentals say? And this thing is down. I mean, this thing went down 46%. Right now, it looks like it could be finding support. Why don't I have volume here? All right, we'll show you guys volume. I don't have anything on this chart. That's really fucked up. Let me do this. We're going to go to indicators. It's this little bar graph over here. You guys are going to learn a few things, okay? So one thing, visible range volume profile. Keep that on your favorites. That's the thing on the right that I love so much that we look at almost incessantly, right? Whoa, I hate that color. What the fuck? Did they change the defaults? Damn you people. That is just atrocious. I'll have to fix that. I do not like the look. Oh, I see. They're doing like, what are they doing? Up, down volume. So this is like green is up volume, red is down. They're trying to show the amount of each. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like the change. We got to fix that. Here's what I do like, though, for Micron. I like the fact that we have a little volume shelf over here where we're finding support. It appears slowly from this previous double top that we had where we crashed down. Our measured move sent us lower. Then we skyrocketed to the moon because of NVIDIA. And now we appear to be doing a little bit better. My worry is that that chip sector will be pulled down by NVIDIA just not doing really, really good. Like it's just been screaming higher. And it could continue. That narrative could continue. But if it doesn't, I think it keeps the sector dragged down. But yeah, so we got the visible range volume profile. I'll have to clean that up. We don't have our moving averages. Here's how I add them. I guess I'll just show you this too. Let's show you a bunch of stuff. So we click up here, indicators, metrics, and strategies. I don't use exponential. I've found simple is more fun for me. So I just do the moving average simple. I do 3 of these. I click it 3 times. Here's how my charts work, guys. Oh, that's only 2. Let me do it one more. Didn't do the third one for some reason. Let me make sure I got 3. Okay, we got 3. So the first one that I do in purple right here, is going to be the 50 moving average. So I go to inputs, and under length, I change it to 50. And this is defaulting to days. So when it refers to length, it's referring to days. But it's not really days. It's whatever view you're in. So if you're in the 4 hour, it's 50 4-hour movements. If you're in the day, it's 50 days. If you're in the week, it's 50 weeks, etc. Right? So this is purple. This is my color that I always represent for 50-day moving average. So that one's in there. Now we're going to click our little gear again. We're going to change this other one to 100 because I like the 50, the 100, and the 200 moving averages. For style, I'm going to come over here. I don't want it to be blue. I always have mine as yellow. So it is yellow now. And you can change the size of it too. For now, I'll just leave it alone. For the next one, I do the 200 moving average, another one I love to use. This is usually the sign of a bear market or a bull market, and especially on the daily and weekly time frames. So the weekly especially, if you're below the 200 moving weekly average, you're in a bear market by definition. And so we look over here and we see the moving averages are still well beneath us. The 100 though is starting to hit over here. The 50 we dropped underneath. It's up here in purple. You can see where it broke down out of it. It's been falling since. But again, I think we're finding support over here. I think we have the 100 rising and the 200 rising that will also act to support those moving averages. And so maybe you have limited downside risk where you could get into the 80s and then go higher. But I don't know. Right now, this is something that, again, it's on my buy list. I'm in no rush to get to it, though, because we had this exponential move. If you go back here years to 2014, you can see where this was support, resistance, 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 broke above it in a parabolic move, broke down. So we can let this grind for a little bit, maybe a month or two, and see how it plays out. MU, I can't read that name because I don't know if it's Chinese or what, Chinese or Korean, something. MU released a pretty groundbreaking SSD earlier in the month with no real move. Is it going to be profitable for them? And what's groundbreaking about it? I'd be interested to know. But I'll try and update this chart more. I got it a little more cleaned up. At least we got our moving averages on here. We've got our trend-based fib extension. We've got our visible range volume profile. Even though I hate the colors, and I'll probably, let me just real quickly change that because I cannot stand it. So I'm probably going to do, I think it's here. I think it's volume area up. I don't know if this is exactly how I have it in the other one. I'll have to look at the colors, but I just can't look at that. It's just making me puke. Oh God, I'm making it worse. I'll fix it. I'll fix it, and then I'll get it to where it matches the other stuff, and then I'll get it updated on there. Anyway, so that's MU. Don't feel down. The most important thing people need to realize is position size is key. Never YOLO. Yeah, I had less than 20% of my portfolio in all these MicroStrategy plays. That's another important thing. We did finish the 4-hour, guys. We got up to the line. We didn't hit it. Now is the time where we reject on the 2-hour, just to be clear. So this, we could see the 2-hour, we could see Bitcoin dropping now because this is kind of how markets work. So we hit the resistance level with a nice bounce. Now the real question is, do we go down lower or do we find the ability to go higher? Now that the 4-hour candle has closed and it closed below the resistance line, normally what will happen is it will want to go lower. Okay, so let me just push this over here, and I'm probably going to end here pretty soon, guys. But this was your get the fuck out zone. Now we could go lower. What we want to see, ideally, would be like this, getting down to 95 and stopping. If we can trend here and find support in this 95 range, maybe we even drop further. Maybe we drop further. Maybe we drop down to like 93 or something and then bounce back up. But we want to see a trading range in here where we're still up here and trading in here. If we can trade high in this range, it will invalidate this area of resistance. If we just go this way, if we do something like, so here's kind of what I want to see. Here's what I want to see. That. And then maybe a breakout higher, right? So it doesn't have to break out higher now, but I'd like to see a breakout. And honestly, here's what I'd like to see. This is what I'd like to see, is maybe it just like trends over here, and maybe again, even down to here. I should do both these lines so this makes more sense. I'd like to see something like this, where we can break down first, where we realize that breakdown instead of just trying to push up, and then we make another leg higher to try and test 98. This is what I'd like to see. Why would I like to see this? Then we develop an inverse head and shoulders, and the measured move for this, if we ignore the wick, which I tend to do, would look something like this. Okay, so I'd like to get above this down or this trend line, this upward trend line that we broke underneath. I would like to get above it to the 98s where we have peak volumes, and then and do that sooner than later, ideally like maybe even right here, so that we can draw the right shoulder and then find our measured move that gets us up into the 106, 107 range, maybe even higher, but at least that's what the measured move looks like here. If we get up to 106, 107 and MicroStrategy really starts to take off, I might get the fuck out of those MSTX and MSTU plays. That's probably enough for me to be happy, because I think we could see a new all-time high in MicroStrategy, and that would be a great number. Again, let's just look at MicroStrategy real quick. What are we at on the tracker right now? Let's refresh again on the tracker. Miner's taking a bit of a dive. Yeah, they're probably just, yeah, again, Bitcoin's taking a dive too. There's nothing surprising here. We literally telegraphed what was happening. So you're just getting what we already know. All right, let me bring this down a little bit. So I want to show over here. So right now we are about 2.3 on MicroStrategy. That seems about fair. TradingView limits number of indicators depending upon your plan. You can use a combined indicator, 20, 50, 200, all in one, so you don't have to burn 3 separate indicators. Yeah, that might be the case. I don't have that worry. And since you gave a tip for new, I do like new. This is probably the last one I'm going to do, guys, and I think I'm going to call it. I'm getting tired. And let me take this red one off, because eventually that's just going to interfere with our view. So Nubank. Nubank is a Latin American bank that has been taking off. I don't know if its growth is as good as it was, but it's been pretty steady Eddie, going back over here into the $3 range. It's now sitting at 13. It is sitting at the first fib level and trying to find support. So that's kind of cool. What do I think it can do? I think it can go higher. I think naturally what I would say is that this thing could, just based upon this trend right here, guys. I mean, let's just look at this here, right? That's the trend, isn't it? Right there. It's like the trend. So I would say that if they continue to perform and they're running at a high PE, we'll look at some of that. They're running at a high level. But if they continue to perform, and let me actually just draw this a little bit differently. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Then we could see, you know, them running up here to that 0.5 range. I'll probably just take that off. We could see something like this, right? As long as they can hold support over here and then break out higher, we're going to see the 16 levels. And then maybe a couple months, early spring, we could see 20. But, and then the golden retracement zone is 23. So I would expect it to be irrationally exuberant at that point. BITX is up more than MSTU. Yeah, that's possible. Again, they don't always track perfectly, guys. These are the vehicles you're looking at. MicroStrategy is actually up 6.6%. So it's probably underperforming Bitcoin right now, right? That's possible. It's all a part of the game, guys. Again, I gave you your opportunity to get the fuck out. I told you. Hey, Jesse, I'm going to send you another DM on X. Check it out. Give me 10 to 15 minutes to write it up. Okay, cool. I'll do that. I've got to talk to my wife and kid in a little bit here, but I will look at that. And then I'll try and get these loaded up into the Discord too. Thank you for everybody who's been here. I hope we make a bunch of money between now and Monday. I will be around Friday for a few hours doing a morning stream, just because we have one until they close early at noon. So if you guys want to check that out, do it. I love you guys. Really appreciate you. And you have a great day, okay? We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys. Peace out.